Push the button.
Push it now. We are live. Yes, we're back. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, back for another Monday. Films have come out in the preceding week that we have to talk about because it's our job.
We do.
And yeah,
we're so back.
Well, I mean, we're so back, right? It's Thunderbolts. It deals with mental health. It's a return to form for Marvel. So, we're definitely back. Yeah.
Oh man,
this is it. I'm sure we're going to talk spoilers during this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we probably should. Yes.
So
Chat, if you don't want spoilers, then fuck off. But otherwise, we're talking about
yes, spoilers. So the new Avengers, as this actually is, they've changed everything already. By the way, they're changing the posters. They've had a reveal of the new title and everything. The asterisk was so they could do this.
Jeez.
Okay, I'll just start since I didn't hate this movie. I left the theater. I quite liked it. So at first, I really liked it, and after a few days of thinking about it, I'm just more like, it was okay. So I rest at like a 5.5 out of 10 on it. But that's like right down the middle. It's totally fine, in my opinion. There's a lot of problems. I'm sure you guys will bring some up, and I'll agree with all of them or have thought of them as well. But I wouldn't call this a return to form, but I would call this a major apology for trying to make Captain America a thing again with Sam Wilson. Since this is the new Avengers, this is they're like big apology
but they're the new Avengers with a Z because he's still a thing and he's suing them. So it's like he's not gone.
It's hard to take post-credit scenes as canon anymore.
Yeah, that's the problem. Well, the problem is that the posters is Sam Wilson is directly responsible for the new Avengers posters because he's copywriting the name.
Yeah, he's also directly responsible for the new Avengers in the sense that he is the reason that John Walker is there and has been disgraced, and he's the reason Bucky Barnes doesn't have the shield, and that none of these people should really be where they are, but they are because Sam Wilson's a dick. Yeah, it's hard even to know where to begin with this one. This came up on EFAP on Saturday. You like the way that they've chucked Task Manager in like the most unobtrusive way possible, far left corner up there.
Almost, almost like she's not in the movie.
It's crazy.
But it's I didn't like it when I saw it, and I don't think my opinion has improved on it since I saw it. But it's hard to say how much of it is because of the homework. Because, naively, I suppose that, they're bringing all of these Disney Plus characters into live action. So probably is going to be worth going back and remembering who they are. Because surely, if you're bringing characters back, you're bringing back the characters. But Thunderbolts really acts as a soft reboot. And in order to get away with being a soft reboot, it basically assassinates all of these characters in order to have them go on the same arcs they've already been on, but in ways that, if anything, make them seem a little bit worse. I think John Walker comes off by far like the most abused of all of them.
Absolutely. Yeah, I thought that even while I was watching it. I was thinking that, like, man, you can't do this guy justice at all. They just hate this character.
But even Yelena has got to be kind of... so like, if you go back to Black Widow and Yelena is like, she's a fundamentally nice, good person, and she has been brainwashed. But the minute she's not brainwashed anymore because they have the counter Ray Winston testicle scent thing, then she becomes a good person again, and she goes around and like she's helping that, and they take down the Red Room. And at the end of that movie, toward the end of that movie, she's going around, she's trying to rescue all of the other widows who are still brainwashed. Then she gets recruited by Selena Meyer from Veep, who tells her that Clint Barton killed her sister. That brings you into Hawkeye when she tries to kill Clint Barton. She's still a good person, though, because she doesn't try to... she tries not to kill Kate Bishop. She's actually, goes out of her way to avoid civilian casualties and all the rest of it. And at the end of that show, Clint tells her, this is what really happened to your sister. She accepts it. She has a kind of resolution because she knows her sister died for something better and bigger than herself. And that's kind of the end. But then you rejoin her at the beginning of this movie, and she's depressed for reasons. She has nothing really to do with her life. She's working still for the woman who lied to her about her sister's death, which is insane. And then she goes around killing people in cold blood, which is something she's never done, in order to substantiate the point that she is existentially bored. And that's only there in order that she can kind of shack up with Bob, who's the only character not on the poster. So, like, even she's been done quite a bit of damage just going into this movie.
It's like a hard reset on her values. They did a similar thing with Rey, where her search for her parents kind of ended in TFA, and she was going to go and pursue Luke. But then Ryan just said, fuck that, and had her want to look for her parents all over again, just so he can, like, reset that plot line. And it's just something that they do. And it's like, you think we forgot? Like, it's a part of their story that they moved on from that. But then they just, like, I don't know. They want to hold on to this part of their character, but, like, they can't develop it. They just need to repeat it.
But you can go around the list, and something similar has happened to 3 of them at least, and then the other 2, being Bucky and Ghost, are just not characters in this movie. But like Red Guardian's arc in Black Widow is that, you know, he is the former Soviet super soldier, and he tells these tall tales, most of which he's made up about his old glory days, and he's kind of portrayed as this childish, sort of stuck in the past buffoon character. But his arc in that movie is when he reunites with his family and he realizes that there were things that mattered more to him than his own reputation. So Black Widow does the whole family reconciliation thing, and it leaves him in the position of having, you know, things that he values above and beyond his own reputation. Then you join him at the beginning of this movie, and he's back to being the character he was at the beginning of that movie, always in order that this movie can just take probably the best scene from the Black Widow movie and just replay it, which is him and Yelena kind of coming together as a family again. But we've already had it. So, like, why bring these characters back if you're not bringing the characters back? It's kind of frustrating because it means that the Disney Plus stuff, you have to watch it to know where they've come from. But if you watch it to know where they've come from, the characters in the movie don't make any sense. So
yeah, no progression. And that's a consistent thing. Like from Secret Invasion to the Marvels, like they don't address the scrolls or anything like that. It's like there's so many things you're gonna need for context, but then like it ends up just confusing you in the end. And like, what's the point of a cinematic universe if this is how they're constructing it?
Well, that's true, because Daredevil season 2 is about to come out, and is anyone gonna mention how the whole of New York just got encased by Void?
Nope.
They're just gonna ignore it.
Well, yeah, because no one in this movie mentioned that New York was under martial law because Kingpin is mayor and he's created a new city-state in the port somewhere. It's like, none of this adds up together. And they told us that was canon now. So, like, when is this even happening? I did try to work it out based on the election dates, because you've got President Ross is in his first 100 days in the last movie. And Bucky's running for election. So, like, it could either be midterm elections, so we're like a year and a half out from that, or it's a general election and we're like 4.5 years out from that. But that means in that time, Kingpin has probably risen and fallen, and we're just never going to get any accounting for that in the actual MCU.
But you remember the Fiddle Battle Man? He mentioned the scrolls, so they acknowledge it. But then is this movie going to actually, like, you know, conduct itself like they exist?
Yeah, they acknowledge it as a joke because it's completely fucking unworkable. Like, could I be a Skrull?
Yeah.
No.
Like,
well, actually, you could be, right? That's a perfectly valid possibility. It's just the MCU isn't ready for it.
And it's an example of one of the many concepts they've just completely wasted. And yeah, what can you do?
Then you've got the third of like the major disgraced ones. The biggest disgrace, probably John Walker, because John Walker is the hero of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's just that show doesn't realize that that's what it did.
Yeah.
But his arc in that is obviously like he's a really, really good guy, probably more qualified for the role than Steve Rogers was. Gets the shield. Then the heroes of the show bully him mercilessly, break his arm, steal his shield, leave him in the gutter, and he still tries to fight for what's right. And then he gives up on the title, he gives up on his makeshift shield in order to save the politicians who disgraced him, because he's good people. And then he joins up with Selena Meyer at the end because she's offered him a way to carry on serving his country because that's what he wants to do, because he's a good person. And then you join him in this movie, and he is a brash, egotistical, selfish, washed-up loser whose family has left him. His wife's left. He's taken the kid because he's a shit father. On top of being everything else, threatens to kill civilians, even though that's the one thing he never did in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The only person he killed publicly in the street was a fucking terrorist who was superpowered. Thinks he was innocent. Superpowered terrorist who wanted to commit genocide, but no, killing innocent people. Who just killed his best friend.
And that's the only consistency that this movie has with Falcon and Winter Soldier 2 is trying to make him out like he's the bad guy for doing that.
Yeah, they both hate him. Because I think when I watched it, I went, he is not remotely the same character in his behavior or his mannerisms. He's a complete asshole for no reason.
Well, that's the only path they have for this guy, which is just frustrating because, like, to think after Chris Evans' performance, there would be another Captain America, we'd accept this quickly. This guy's pulled it off. The actor is likable, and like everything they did for his story was just not in line with what their goals are for this story. You can't make someone this endearing and then try to force us to fucking hate him. It's not gonna work. So I have no idea what their plans are for him.
Just in that comment, yeah, they actually say, like, so Ghost shits on him. She calls him a dime store Captain America and says that the only thing he was famous for was killing an innocent civilian. So that is exactly how they frame it in this movie, because they didn't really pay attention to what the Falcon and the Winter Soldier did. But then even characters not in, so like obviously Task Manager is in the poster, right? And Task Manager is in quite a few posters. They Photoshop Task Manager into a shot at the end of the movie. She's not there. She dies. She's there for 5 seconds. She says a line of dialogue, which is, "You're not my target." And then she gets shot in the head by Ghost and they loot her corpse. And it's just, she has a history with Yelena. Yelena was the one who saved her, or was largely responsible for saving her. And the only thing Yelena has to say is, maybe show a bit of respect. And they're like, nah, because she's got stuff, we need it. And that's it. Never acknowledged ever again.
Yeah, I can't believe how little sympathy she had for a woman in the same situation she was in.
It's crazy.
Goes, did you know her? Sort of. And that's it.
They don't acknowledge her history at all and like what her character should have been, and they fucked that up from the first movie where they literally have her making stupid jokes and then next thing you know she's crying in the next scene. Like, you can't do the quippy stupid humor and also like the depressed angle at the same time unless you do unless you have add some type of consistency to the character. But it's literally 2 different characters, and with this movie it's like, from what I hear from you guys, it's frustrating because Yelena, like Florence Pugh, something about this actress, something about the way she performs, make people completely ignore the writing around her characters. And
she's actually quite good at her job. Yes. Like, she delivers these terrible lines really well, and that's a commonality. Like, some of the best actors currently working in the MCU were all given shitty Disney Plus characters, and there are loads of them in this film. So like Florence Pugh is really good. David Harbour is really good. Whoever plays John Walker, I can't remember his name. He's also really good.
Wyatt Russell, I think.
That's the one. So like the actors are really solid. The only one who really isn't is Sebastian Stan, because he doesn't want to be in this film, and you can tell.
Well, you got to think he's just been passed over for fucking Captain America, and now he's on the B team. That's his fucking future now. He's just being put away slowly but surely.
He's been here since fucking phase 1. He's one of the OGs of OGs. You would think they'd have some type of respect for them, but no, he's just hanging on by a thread, and that's why there's no fucks given. Like, the reality is Bucky's one of the most wasted characters of all of the MCU. And I was going to say,
they still kept him as kind of like the badass of the group at minimum, though. Like, he has the heroic entrance, he has the semi last stand against Sentry. I mean, he still doesn't get a lot to do, but you know, they kept him as that cool badass.
But he was a politician like 2 seconds ago in Captain Wakanda. Like,
I know. I was really looking forward to seeing why they made that decision, why he's a congressperson, how he became a congressperson, and why they did it. Like, what about that is integral to this movie? And then you watch the movie.
It's nothing.
And it has nothing to do with it. He's there as a congressman. He gets bored of being a congressman. He goes on a motorbike as the Winter Soldier again. So there's no answers. I still don't know why he's a congressman.
In Civil War, when Iron Man and Captain America are discussing the entire accords in the room, you basically get throwaway lines to explain the ending of Iron Man 3, like, and why, like, he threw away his suits and whatnot, and he thought it would help, and just his whole thought process. So it explains why he's still Iron Man. With this, it's just like, I don't know. You just skip from him being a politician and totally out of shape in a suit to now suddenly he's the badass again. How am I supposed to believe
he's a badass and an Avenger, which is just like the politician bit, and then him becoming an Avenger essentially throws everything in the face of the argument that he couldn't have been Captain America.
Yeah. But it's funny, in Brave New World, becomes a politician. The very next movie gives it up. What was
Yeah.
the fucking point?
Boring. Boring job.
What's the point, man?
But it's like, oh, you assassinated JFK. Come right in.
And with Florence Pugh, I was gonna say, like, it's such a weird experience with this woman because I actually like her a lot. I think she's really cute. I think she's a great actress. I just hate every character I've ever seen her play. So it's so fucked up. It's like Midsummer, like, is one of my most despised fucking horror movies or movies, period. And Black Widow, her character is just, it's completely. I hate that Black Widow, like Natasha's Romanoff, got completely shredded to introduce this character who isn't even well written at all. You know, like I wish she was at least, so we get something in replacement. But like, I don't know, it's such a shame, waste of her talents.
How contrived is that entire scene in the incinerator where they
Oh
get
my
a fucking
it's really bad. Yeah.
a 2-minute fucking countdown, and then the sound barrier that's Ghost can't get past. Well, the fucking power source happened to be in the fucking same room as her.
They built a trap to stop people getting out of a room, and they left the power source for the trap to stop them getting out of the room in the room it's trying to stop them getting out of. Like, that is just why even put a countdown on the wall? Why
2
is that
minutes.
there? And like, as I said on Saturday, like up until pretty much this point, I think I was sort of headcanoning in a way better film than the one we actually got. But this was all part of like Selena Meyer's plan. She recruited this team separately. She puts them in the room to test them in order to form a team because she wants the team, because she wants something to replace the Avengers. And up until the point where she decides to try and kill them by pressing a button on an iPad that starts a timer to start an incinerator, that could have worked. And then she does that, and it breaks immediately at that point. That plan makes no sense. Why is she doing, and why is she so useless and reactive to everything? Her whole thing is supposed to be that she has plans, and she doesn't. She reacts to everything, including the fucking super mega evolved Jesus character that she's created, which again makes no sense. So, like, for anyone who hasn't seen the film, see, Sentry makes the debut in this. Sentry is introduced, and we're told, well, he's introduced as a character called Bob, who has amnesia, because that's very useful for the writers. He becomes like the most powerful thing in the MCU. He's Depression Thanos. He has more power than all of the Avengers put together. He can blitz people into misery. And like, he's unstoppable. That's the point, except from within his own head. But he's introduced as this character called Bob, who just turns up in this basement they've been sent to. And again, at that point, I thought, well, this must be part of the plan. It's a test for him as well as a test for them. Like, he'll be leading this team of Dark Avengers that she's creating. But no, it turns out he's there by accident because the scientists who have the technology to create Mega Evolved Jesus don't know how to tell when their test subject is dead or alive. So they thought he was dead, and they threw him out into the trash, and then he turns up again, and they're like, oh shit, we should probably do something with him now. That's the plot of the film.
But it didn't even make any sense because John Walker has a look at the coffin, and it's this well-preserved, it looks like a cryogenic thing almost. And it's like, what about the other bodies? Is the room just full of dead bodies? Why do they only keep him?
Well, we know that it's not because, like, when so that's the other thing, right? So Florence Pugh's Yelena is introduced as being very depressed and miserable, and she doesn't give a shit about her job. Like, she's not interested in her job. That's the whole point of her character being depressed. So, like, the first mission she goes on, because she's trying to destroy evidence for Selena Meyer before the government finds out about all the things she's doing that they already know about, but fuck it. She's not interested, so she doesn't do any work or research. She goes to the basement, and because the plot needs it to happen, they've left some suspicious plot-relevant papers lying around, and she picks them up to look at them. And in that, you see like information on Project Sentry, but you also see a photo of body bags. So you know what they did with dead corpses. They put them in body bags and disposed of them. They didn't put them in high-tech sarcophaguses and store them in the basement. Only Bob got that treatment.
But they thought he was dead.
But they thought he was dead. Again, completely pointless. Why not have this be part of someone's plan? It would have made way more sense. She'd be a villain to be taken seriously. Like, why do they have to insist on making all their villains so fucking useless?
Yeah, they haven't had one that's been worthwhile since Thanos. I think the only one, at least from the performance perspective, that was appreciated was the black dude in Guardians. The creator,
the high evolutionary.
Yeah, he was all right. Like he passed the test, but it's just overall their ratio when it comes to villains. It's just, oh my god, man. And it should be one of the most important things. We're talking about superheroes. Like, what is the point of this as a genre if we don't actually have some opposition?
I also cannot take Julia Louis-Dreyfus seriously as a villain.
It's fucking Elaine, man. It's Elaine. It's
so
Elaine,
bad.
and It's fucking. There's some typecasting you just can't get off. Like you're Elaine, dude. Get out of here.
I think
every time she
it's
speaks.
honestly, I think it is Selena Meyer that they're going for from Veep because like her role is political, and so we know the MCU does this, right? If it's got character archetypes, it tends to try and get an actor who's played one of those characters. It's why you get Robert Redford in The Winter Soldier and stuff like that. And her dialogue and her mannerisms are all Selena Meyer's. It's just that the writing quality isn't there, the humor isn't there. They've just tried to transplant this skin suit over from a different show because they liked that show, and they don't know how to work it into this production. So she is just utterly useless and incompetent, but she's flippant and glib all the way through, which makes her impossible to take seriously because everything she does is like a joke. But
it's like
a bad
Giancarlo
one.
Esposito, like them trying to recreate Gus in every story he's
Yes.
been in ever since. Like that's one of the worst examples I've
Yeah.
ever seen. I'm like, it's gotten to a point where it's damaging like the Gus performance. Where if I'm ever gonna rewatch Breaking Bad, I'm gonna be thinking about all these other shitty performances I've seen him do. I can't believe it because he's so talented, but I feel like the man's entire career since then has probably been wasted.
Yeah.
He's gotten paid, I'm sure, but from an artistic standpoint, what the fuck has he done since? You know?
Well, it's interesting how stupid she is, where she gets in a limousine, talks about her plans out loud, and she just so happened to have rented fucking was it the Red Guardian, as a limo driver.
Because that's his new backstory. Is he's washed up. He's moved vaguely in the like direction of Washington. He now owns like the Red Guardian limo company, which is like, and his limos are the shittest, cheapest thing. They don't work. They barely drive. And the director of the CIA hires one like it's a fucking Uber and discusses the top secret plan to murder people at her evil facility. And that's how he knows where to go. It's just
And
no.
she knows everything. She knows everything about Yelena, about all the new Avengers. She should know that her dad is a fucking limo driver.
Yes.
You'd
But then she
think
should have.
Sorry.
Well, because he's a super soldier, so you'd think she would have recruited him already anyway. Because why wouldn't like her plan in this film is that she has been with this evil secret ox group. She's been trying to do experiments to recreate super soldiers. Again, we need more of those in the MCU. But she's hired one of them in John Walker. Bucky's there. He's sitting opposite her in the impeachment hearing, and she knows Yelena because she hired her. And Yelena's dad is a super soldier. Why didn't she hire him? If she'd hired him, then at least you'd have a reason for him to be able to know where he's going. But like, the film doesn't understand what to do with the characters it's brought in. So it's just like, how do we get character from point A to point B? Fuck it, just make it a joke. That's fine.
Is there anyone that they did any good work with? Because I haven't seen the movie yet. I've heard a whole bunch about it though. I've just
I think
everything
Bob-
has been consistent, like in terms
The
of
only one
lack of characterization.
I think the closest you get is Bob, because he's the only one with any sort of arc. But at the very end of the movie, it kind of undoes it because he gets amnesia. So actually, no, he's actually fucked as well.
I just wait
Which is awkward because like the thing the movie's got a lot of praise for is, you know, it handles mental health. And I think that is just code for its characters unusually in modern Marvel actually have feelings sometimes.
Because they're getting
all the praise for that. And yet, like the subject of that arc, which is Bob, because like he becomes Sentry, he becomes the Void because he's severely depressed. He's basically bipolar. They have to go into his head to help him overcome his past trauma, and they effectively cure him with the power of friendship. But the lesson that teaches is then forgotten by the person who learned it. So what happens next? He could just become the Void again in the next movie. Doctor Doom turns up and you think he's going to be really bad and evil and threatening, and then fucking Bob gets depressed and blips him.
Well, he says that in the credits scene. He says if he becomes Sentry again, the Void will come out. So it's kind of just resets his character.
Fuck. So the depression thing's all surface level. They didn't actually effectively explore this topic at all. That's why it's so annoying to see it get so much credit for that.
Well, that's the thing. He physically tries to attack Void, doesn't work, and he doesn't accept Void as a part of himself. He just cries, gets amnesia, and he's left with the same problem.
What's the power scale here? Are we talking Gaia powerful? Like
probably more.
Yeah,
he can do everything.
Yeah. More than Gaia?
I would say more than Gaia because like he's been So Gaia has like it's the vial, isn't it? And Nick Fury stuck all the DNA of all the named Marvel characters in it.
Everyone
so
who
has,
is
like,
in Endgame, yeah, pretty much.
but like she can shoot lasers and turn her arm into Drax for some reason. Bob is like he's impossible. So Bob is introduced. The first power you see him have is that if you touch him, he can go into your mind and fuck with your dreams, which is already really powerful. Then you learn that he's bulletproof and invincible, so you can't kill him. Then it turns out he can fly. Then he has telekinesis. It's like I don't know how anyone can beat him. There's the scene when he has the fight scene against all of these Thundertards, and he just beats them all without even breaking a sweat. And you've got like 3 super soldiers, a Black Widow, and fucking Ghost. And he's just like, I don't know, you're nothing to me, really. You're not even a threat, so why am I even trying?
How's Florence Pugh going to go up against all that? Like, what's the point?
Well, they don't. They get absolutely crushed.
Yeah, that's when I knew they were just going to use the power of words like Captain America did in Brave New World to thwart the threat.
Yeah, but you can do that correctly. You can do it in a way that's not horseshit, you know? Like,
well, they're not friends.
Yeah,
that's the problem. You go the power of friendship, but none of these people are friends. The closest relationship he has is with Yelena, but that's not much.
Well, they get split up at the end of the first act, and then they don't see each other again until basically the end of the third act. And because the whole movie does hinge on the fact that they've built this relationship, so much weight is placed on the very few exchanges they have at the beginning of the film that it doesn't really ring true. Like the writers are doing, I think, their best within the structure they've got, but the structure they've got really doesn't allow time for these relationships to develop in a way that justifies what happens at the end of the film. Well, effectively, they meet up and they say, "Well, you're depressed. Oh, that's funny. So am I." And then at the end of the film, it's so we can
cry together.
I took away that, like, I didn't think it was super forced because at the end, probably the second act or like at the beginning of it, rather, Bob sacrifices himself because these people saved him. I thought that was enough. I didn't take that as like super contrived.
Yeah, up to a point, except that like he betrays them and sides with Selena Meyer before that, right? So like I would agree with you. If that hadn't happened in the intervening time, it would have been more believable. But the problem is, so like they work together to get out of the secret vault. Then he gets captured by Selena Meyer, and she says, "The people who just saved you, they're evil, so you should kill them." And he says, "Okay, fine." And then at the end of the film, it's the opposite. It's, well, no, we worked together at the beginning of the film so that they can save me. But those two beats in the film, friendship, the break apart, and the friendship.
Himself. He does sacrifice himself. Remember when he gets all shot up? Is what I'm talking about. Like he says, like, these people saved me. That's why
So he sacrifices himself, and then he ends up working for the people who shot him. Is my problem.
Yeah, it's like one scene. She walks in, goes, I know everything about you, Bob. Come work with me against your friends and arrest them. And he goes, okay. That's the problem.
So like the natural way to do it would have been for like if you introduce them together at the beginning of the film, and something like what I said, about this all being part of Selena Meyer's plan to build this team. They work together all the way through the film, and then at the end of the second act, then it's revealed to him that his relationships and his friendships were all manipulated into existence. Then he turns evil, and then he's redeemed at the end. That would, I think, do what the movie's trying to do, but better, because you've given him most of a movie to actually form a relationship with these people. Because I agree with you, Cynic. Like, I like the idea of what it's trying to go for. My problem is that he works for them, he gets shot by the other side, so he works for the other side until he doesn't, is kind of confused and disconnected to me.
There's also 3 things. He calls John Walker an asshole and picks a fight with him because John Walker is being an asshole in this movie. He doesn't know who Red Guardian or Bucky are, and they're jumping on him going, no, Bob. He must be thinking, who the fuck are these two?
Well, I can explain, like, for that, I would just be like, these people want him to fucking stop. So, like, I would jump on him too.
But it's like the power of friendship, and 2 people are strangers, and he doesn't like John Walker, and Ghost hasn't got a personality. It is purely down to Yelena, and that's just a survival situation that they're in.
Yeah, I think one of the, I just want to reiterate, I did not give this like a 10 out of 10 or something. It's like down the middle. Yeah. Like only a couple characters in the movie really had an arc. Bob did, Red Guardian did, which is hilarious. Yelena kind of did, and then the rest were just scraps. Like Ghost didn't even need to be in the movie. John Walker's family is just kind of talked about and introduced and just kind of discarded thereafter.
Well, what worked for you? You said you liked it. Like, what do
Yeah,
you think?
that's the thing is I still walked away entertained by the film. And I think it's because the performances. I mean, this is a great cast of people. Like these actors are just fantastic. I did say to Reaper, I was like, maybe I give Florence Pugh a huge pass because I'm so attracted to her.
That's what I told you. I'm telling you, it distorts reality around this woman.
It really does.
Yeah, in addition to that, because like it's just every time doesn't matter how retarded her character is or the movies she's in. It's just like
it's funny. Like the movies are 5.5 out of 10, but 2 of those 5 are fucking Florence Pugh.
Yeah.
It's Wanda. Wanda again. She can kill all the people she wants, torture kids. Who cares? She's hot.
Yeah.
It's just,
I'm kind of with you though, because we've been shitting a lot on the film, but like I kind of there are bits in it which are genuinely quite good, right? And I think the performances definitely carry it, but even some of the ideas for the characters are also quite good. The fact that there are arcs in the film, again, it's such bottom of the barrel shit. Characters have an arc. That's unusually good. The same thing with like, and the fact it has a thematic through line, which is present as a through line. Again, should be basic and common sense, but it doesn't happen often. So I give it points for that. I like all of these people. I think that they could be turned into something really interesting. And if you do treat it as a soft reboot as opposed to a continuation, I'd probably look on it slightly more kindly than I have been. Because I want to see them taken to the next place. I am kind of interested to see where they go in the next film. That's the thing.
Yeah, I think this is like an apology for casting them as the new Avengers. I really do. I said at the beginning of the stream, it feels like an apology for what they were attempting to do for a new set of Avengers. It's like it's almost like they watched this movie and were like, you know what, this one actually might work. Make them the Avengers, and just flip it at the end.
Well, just the fact that you said you want more, I think, is amazing. You know, that's
I don't know that I want more, but I'm interested to see what more will do. That's sort of a slight difference, but because I don't, it's tricky. I think there's enough potential in them, which the actors are principally involved in carrying. And I think that the film has tried, as Cynic says, to like forget as much about the shit work they've done in the past as possible. That they could maybe not be completely abysmal going forward. I wouldn't necessarily say that I want to see more of them, but I just think if I'm going to have to see more of them anyway, there's something. Yeah. And I quite like the fact that like they are not an ultra super powered Avengers team. That's another thing that I think
they
could
do have a
kind of interesting.
Machina, though. They do,
with the exception of Bob. Yeah, if you forget Bob, the rest of them, there's no one flying through the sky shooting laser beams. Which, like, I would prefer to see a grounded, smaller scale Avengers team. The problem is though, like they're gonna hightail straight into fucking Avengers Doomsday, and there's no way these people are standing a chance against anything that's thrown at them in that. So I don't know. We'll see that much more of them either way.
How much was doing your homework negatively impacted your viewing of this?
100, dude. If I did my homework, I'd probably come away with a lower score because
you gotta watch
so much. I forgot about how these characters were originally portrayed. Like when we first hopped in the chat, you were explaining to me the John Walker situation. I was like, holy shit, I forgot about that. If I had known that, I would have really disliked it more. But like, for example, my girlfriend watched it with me and she really liked it, and she has no clue about any of these characters' backstories. So it you know, maybe it did what it wanted to do
that way, because that's been a problem since the very beginning. WandaVision makes a Doctor Strange mom make less sense if you watch that show. It's like, what the fuck? How did we get here? And that was like the first show.
That's actually very interesting. You're punished if you're more loyal of a fan. If you do the extra work, watch the extra shows, you're actually contradicted and have your time wasted than if you're just a casual.
If you've watched Secret Invasion, you never want to see Nick Fury's character ever again. Like, you're just done with them.
That was why I had hopes for the Selena Meyer character in this, because she's kind of a Nick Fury character, and like Nick Fury has been the victim of the great cuckening, and so we never want to see him again. So we need a character to take his place, and that's her, or was her, because that's how she's been portrayed until this point. If she's kind of competent in Wakanda forever, you know, she's head of the CIA, she manipulates Bilbo to find out what's going on with the Wakandans, she recruits all these people, she's been portrayed as being Nick Fury.
Talking about Elaine,
yet,
right?
Elaine, fucking whatever, Selena Meyer. Then you get to this film and it's just, she's useless, absolute crap, and she's probably going to stick around because of the dumb fuck way the film ends, which is another. for all the good stuff I want to say about the performances and some bits of the character, they are still couched in absolute dog shit. So, like, the film, she calls a press conference for the day after the impeachment committee is supposed to happen, even though the press conference is supposed to stop her being impeached, but it would have been too late. Then fucking Shadow Thanos blips people out of existence. Then they all come back because they power of friendship him. And then the press conference just starts and she tricks them straight into it. And she says, here's the new Avengers. And of course, it could have been a plan, but it wasn't because she's just winging it at this point. And then rather than revealing how evil she is, Yelena goes up to her and says, well, we own you now. And it's like, that's like, just the setup doesn't make any sense. That would never have happened. The characters don't have any motive to do it because they know she's evil. And again, another potentially interesting through line, because fucking she is the only through line through phase 4 is Val's character is just reduced to silliness and a mess again.
Plus, everyone is just normal after being put in a struggle session with your worst memory.
Yep.
All the news people are fine. Valentina's for everyone's fine.
They should all be traumatized. But the minute they get out, it's like, right then, back to work.
Cameras, get my podium, build this giant wall to hide everyone. Where the fuck did that come from?
It seems like from what you're telling me, the most effective scene for actually exploring the past and depression was like the first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where you saw Bucky in the therapy and seeing the flashbacks and the nightmares and whatnot. That was actually effective, and then the show turned to slop directly after. But
it's kind of similar. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't do it. It doesn't use the cop-out therapy plot device, which I want to give it praise for. It uses these weird sort of dream sequence things to do it instead. And like it takes bits and pieces of the character's backstory, then discards most of the context, but keeps the traumatized bit. And then so Yelena gets a dream sequence, John Walker gets a dream sequence, and Selena Meyer gets a dream sequence. And they're all, oh, well, 2 of those 3 are okay. Yelena's is quite good, Selena Meyer's is okay. John Walker's just destroys him as a character again because fucking...
He's just sitting there on the phone, ignoring his child. Just watching, reading articles about himself saying fallen hero, which he fucking isn't.
It's just not what John Walker was, man. Like, holy hell, it's, I don't know. It's such a strange fuck up, that character.
Yeah, I think it is. The more Disney Plus shows you watch, the more punished you are, the lower opinion you will have of this movie.
None of them have achieved anything. Like, they've just dragged down the MCU, they've dragged down the characters, they've dragged down the continuity. They just make people not want to watch the movies because they think, oh, I need to watch the show to No, you don't. You don't. Just go right in. It's just gonna fuck you over. And it's just, but they don't know that going in, so it's a clusterfuck. Yeah, and there's nothing more frustrating than seeing a movie come out and then going and like watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier so I can understand Captain Wakanda. And all I know is that like they ruined these characters, but the continuity from that movie that show doesn't even really transfer over. So it's just, yeah.
And I think the big problem is like they're taking most of those storylines they should have been massively improved for one thing, but most of them probably should have been films, not shows. Because like if you think about, the post Endgame situation, you needed a film. Like Captain Falcon, if you're going to make him Captain America, his first film could have seen him roughly in the place he was at in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That would have then ensured that this is part of the cinematic universe. There's no ambiguity about it. And you see all of these characters in the cinema beginning from scratch to build into this team situation. And then everyone knows they're all on the same page. And there's no question of this continuity gap, which is sort of like Schrodinger's continuity really between Disney Plus and the cinema. But because they stuck them on Disney Plus in shows that nobody watched, they thought, well, we've got the characters and the actors are quite good, and there's like the odd good scene in them. So if we just bring bits and pieces across to the film, then people will think we've done the work. But like Reaper says, you'll be punished if you've actually followed the work because they just discard everything else.
Yeah, it's oddly cherry-picked what they do, decide to bring in, what they don't.
You need to read a Wikipedia article like most Marvel fans do. Just skim Wikipedia and then you're done. It's probably what the writers do.
If you can take the first Cap, Thor, Hulk, and Iron Man movie, just those 4 movies, and then make an amazing movie like The Avengers, look how much they had to work with when it comes to the continuity and the history of all these characters. All of them could have had their own movie, but if you're going to actually put them in a group like this. They could have. Yeah, the more and more I'm hearing about this movie, the more I think, man, this actually could have been something really, really great because all of them have so much potential. But the MCU, all it's known for at this point is wasted potential. Like it's just one of the worst examples of it in history. It's crazy.
And you could say too, like the closer it gets to being good, the more of a disappointment it ends up being because didn't expect too much from Cap 4 or I don't know, whatever the fuck else has come out recently. MCU, there's so much trash, but this is way better than any of their recent offerings, and it almost is like more disappointing because of it.
Well, yeah, because it's in that weird position where it does way more damage technically to its characters than Cap 4 did, but it also uses the damage to tell more of a story than Cap 4 did. So it's like, on the one hand, yeah, it's a much more competently told story. On the other hand, it achieves what competence it does by character assassination. So on balance, I'd probably give it about the same score just because it does more damage. But, it does have these couple of very strong scenes, like Yelena and Red Guardian's sort of reconciliation before the big final battle is a really strong scene. Yes, they kind of stole it from the Black Widow movie, but nobody watched it. So who cares?
Oh man.
Well, what do you think moving forward? Does this make a decent Avengers team for Doomsday? Because I remember thinking it was odd that they were having such a huge role. Now, obviously, that makes a lot more sense.
Well, who's in the Avengers? Because Sam Wilson has got the trademark, but it just seems to be him and Mexican Falcon.
That's it. Yeah.
We'll see if
Ross saying you're making the new, like trying to set up the new Avengers in the last movie, and then the very next movie now they're the Avengers. Like nobody knows what the fuck's going on.
It's also it's quite funny that Sam Wilson in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is basically bitching about how evil capitalism is, and then the next time he's like, "You can't use my trademark. I'll sue you." Fuck you, you fucking hypocrite.
Consistent though. It's every time he steals what you want. He didn't want the shield until John Walker wanted it.
He's like a baby. He's like a fucking toddler, man. Like it's oh god, I want the ball until someone else is playing with it. They've ruined Sam Wilson so thoroughly and so quickly. And they're just incredible. It's insane. He's
but like, why can't he join? Because the Avengers is now a government initiative. Because that's what what's his face? What's the actor? Harrison Ford. He brought it under the government. Yeah, Ross.
But nobody remembers the Accords. I think they regret the Accords. Like they hate Civil War. That's one of my theories when it comes to
he brought the Avengers back under government control. So I don't see why these can't join the Avengers. How does Sam Wilson have copyright over a government team?
I don't know, because that film got it confused, didn't it? Because like in the trailers, President Ford says, restart the Avengers and work for me. But in the movie, he doesn't say that line. He says, I want you to restart the Avengers, but he doesn't actually say it will be a government thing. He says, like, if we disagree on how to handle it, we'll work together. So I don't know if it's government funded.
Does Ross mention the Accords, whether or not they're still in good stands?
It has to be government funded because Sam Wilson couldn't get a loan from a bank.
But then he has a mansion in the fucking what was I going to say there? The Captain Falcon movie. That's the one. So I don't know. Like, are the Avengers? Is that a trademark in the first place? Surely Tony Stark would have owned the trademark if it was one.
Yeah, he had Avengers Tower. It was his tower, which she seems to own.
Yeah, Val has now bought the Avengers Tower, and
so
even
she
that's
should have
got like
Avengers copyright.
You would think, although she's changed it because it's now called the Watchtower, I think. So it's not that, she just bought the tower, not the logo, would be my guess. And even that gets slightly confused when you do your homework, because like she gives this party in this film and she's showing off these trinkets from past Avengers movies, like the Chitauri handcuffs and stuff, which she says she got when she bought the tower. But isn't it Spider-Man Homecoming where they're cleaning out the tower because they move out and Happy has packed everything away on like planes? That's kind of the point of that movie, is that the Vulture is trying to steal this stuff because it's all been shipped away. So she shouldn't even have any of that stuff. And I don't think she has the logo, and I don't think she has the trademark. I don't understand is the short answer. I don't have a clue.
And why wouldn't Sam Wilson allow Bucky to join the team?
Yes, like they're supposed to be friends now. And
they had a whole show together.
They don't remember the show.
He turns up in the last movie to reassure Sam that he's the best Captain America there's ever been. They're supposed to be friends. But then, the post-credit sequence is I had a conversation with him and it didn't go well. He's suing us. Well,
What the fuck?
Doesn't make any fucking sense whatsoever. Like, even as shit as that show was, their friendship was still intact. It ends with them partying and him like hitting on Sam's sister or something. Like, he's family. He was at the barbecue with them. You don't give a piece of you don't invite Bucky to the barbecue unless he's actually your bro. Like, how do you just ignore that? It's the stupidest fucking continuity I've ever seen.
Do you think this is a contrived way of having multiple groups? So to recreate Infinity War, where you had the Guardians,
sure, yeah.
So it's to have 3 groups to do basically replicate the same story beats.
The only formula you're gonna need several more than that. It's the only formula you can use to have that many characters and have it.
But I think it's going to be even more than that, right? Because just from the chair stream casting for the Avengers Doomsday thing, I think there were like 32, 34 names announced or something ridiculous like that.
Huge,
which is already the same number of people as were in Avengers Endgame. But there's since been the list supposedly of the rest of that cast, which adds another 33 names to the list.
Shit.
So the movie potentially has 64 or 65 named characters from all of the MCU in it. So it's got to be more than like 2 or 3 groups of them.
Yeah.
Unless they're just doing like a montage where they kill everyone, which I really hope
you'll have.
You took it right out of my mouth. You're gonna need that. You're gonna need a scene with him just slaughtering all sorts of heroes.
I hope Kate Bishop, Wiccan. I hope all the really young kids get murdered.
Yeah, this is a good excuse to just wipe out all the trash. Just take all the crap characters they developed and the people who aren't working, and just.
I've got the rumored list, which I think again we covered on EFAP, and I don't know if it's been confirmed, but I think it's supposed to be fairly well attested. So like the additional names on top of all the ones that were announced in the chair stream, to that you add Mark Ruffalo, Benedict Wong, Carol Danvers, Don Cheadle's James Rhodes. You've got Nebula's back, Clint Barton's back, Kamala Khan is back, Okoye's back, Valkyrie, Ouroboros, Monica Rambeau, Adam Warlock, Riri Williams, America Chavez, Sylvie She-Hulk, Wonder Man, Cassie Lang, B-15, Maria Rambeau, Jean Grey, Storm, Got G, I don't even know who the fuck that is, Mobius, Peter Quill, Nick Fury, Clea, Stephen Strange, Peggy Carter, Steve Rogers, Rocket Raccoon, Groot, and Cosmo are the ones that are apparently added to the list. So there's like 3 groups in that list, never mind the one that was already announced.
So will they keep the Asgardians separate, keep Doctor Strange's group separate, and keep the Guardians as their own entity? And then there'd be like minimum of 6 groups, because you'll have the Fantastic Four, the New Avengers, Sam Wilson's Avengers.
Are they in it as well?
Yeah, the X-Men. Yeah.
So you've that might work, but then I guess. Yeah.
6
the New
groups.
Avengers,
yeah,
the alternate universe version of Avengers, presumably, because if again Chris Evans is coming back, so you've got that.
Oh my god.
Then you've got whatever Sam Wilson's Avengers are. Then you've got, I guess Doctor Strange is coming back from the multiverse with Charlize Theron. So God knows, maybe another group he could unite with Wong. The Hulks will probably be a group of their own, maybe.
Oh, right. They're on their own.
One? Scar, She-Hulk, or like the whole crew?
Well, She-Hulk's apparently in it somehow. So, yeah.
What are we doing, man? This movie's going to be disgusting.
Sorry, go on.
I was gonna say, I wonder whether we genuinely are going to get this thing where like they go after Loki and just before they unplug him from the Erd Tree of Time or whatever the fuck it is, like you just get a montage of all these universes and all these characters disappear forever, and the only time you see them is in non-speaking lines in a montage.
That's because they did that kind of in the Flash. So half the people that they advertised were just shown for like a blip, and I think it's got to be a death scene. They have to. There's no way you can have even dialogue for each one of these characters.
No way. A bunch of these characters are going to go the way of Taskmaster and Thunderbolts.
Yeah, but can they do that in a way that's actually satisfying? Like even if they go out like it's like a martyr scene.
I mean, if She-Hulk comes back in and her first thing is to get shot in the head, that will be very
all
satisfying.
Cheer. We will all love it.
I hope it's like D-Day on Saving Private Ryan, where they just like machine gun down. She-Hulk's looking for her arm. People are drowning in the ocean.
Guts hanging out.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I want that. I need that now, Reaper. Please give me that scene.
If it's just a massacre. It's like a brutal, bloody massacre. Would be amazing.
These are the next 4 MCU films set to release. No matter
in
how
that
we feel
order?
about it, it's like yes, in this order. So it'll be Fantastic Four, Doomsday, Spider-Man 4, and then Secret Wars.
That's the good segue, isn't it? Because that's the other thing about the Thunderbolts. The last post-credit scene is when the Fantastic Four spaceship arrives in orbit, and as we discovered, that scene, because that scene looks like totally different from the rest of the production. It turns out the post-credit scene for Thunderbolts was only filmed 3 weeks ago, and it was filmed as part of the Avengers Doomsday production. So it was in pre-production for that. So they basically just shipped it out to the cinema at the last available second. But it does introduce the Fantastic Four ship coming into orbit, which kind of suggests that whatever happens at the end of Fantastic Four, they're going to have to leave their home world, right? Because why would they be here if they win there?
Yeah, a bit of a spoiler.
One of the things I've always thought of the Fantastic Four is they're going to have some leftover from the Kang storyline, because isn't Kang a descendant of Reed Richards? And what's her face? Because Kang is supposed to be his descendant. So isn't she pregnant in the movie?
Did they mention that in the show with Loki?
Well, in the comics, I thought Kang is supposed to be a descendant of Reed Richards.
It'll be very funny if they hand wave that away with like, I'm pregnant this time. I'm not going to get another abortion. And it's just like that was it.
So I have a suspicion they'll have some leftover storyline for when Jonathan Major was supposed to be the big bad.
Yeah, I didn't know that about him.
Well, I think that's what the character was supposed to be. So that's why I think she was pregnant, and they were gonna do originally something with the baby. But
Maybe
I think
it's the
that'll
new
get
Kang. Maybe that's how they'll recast Kang. He'll be reborn as somebody else, as Pedro
She'll
Pascal,
have a black
probably.
baby. Oh no!
You think they're gonna recast him or just ignore his whole like existence? Like
They'll ignore him. He hits a girlfriend. It's not. If it was a victimless crime like Harvey Weinstein, they just ignore it. But they've got him on camera just punching her.
They also have him on camera like running from her in the street. If you haven't seen that footage,
Yeah, it's
like,
such a bizarre situation.
It's so weird. He's sprinting and she's chasing him down the block, and it's like clearly they have a fucked up relationship. But yeah, I don't know. He's just
maybe he's being abused. She hits him, and he just walks around with big sunglasses.
Yeah, he's only like 265 fucking pounds. Like, okay,
it's the Tiger Woods South Park thing where she chases him with a golf club and just starts twatting his car.
For anyone who hasn't seen that, go look it up. It's hilarious. But yeah, you're not getting MCU work after that when that footage is out on you.
There is real potential here. A comment I echo. There's real potential here for only one of these 4 movies to be good, which is shocking.
Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Not with that name though. Oh my god.
Well, they're apparently, and they're adapting one of the worst Spider-Man stories in history. And one of the most hated Spider-Man stories of all time.
I thought you said there was potential for it to be good.
Well, hate to be a Debbie Downer on my own point, but I just remembered that when he pointed out what the subtitle is.
Brad New Day. Like, I just can't.
I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Spider-Man, but look at that, man. Ugh.
What is so bad about this Spider-Man run then?
Yes.
So it was written by a person that decided to retcon like 30 years of buildup just for the sake of it. It came out like 15 years ago, and it does track that they decided to do this because of what happened at the end of No Way Home, and they have a tendency to adapt things that came out in the last like 20 years instead of going back and modernizing things that they did like 30, 40 years ago. So yeah, it's just this absolutely hated storyline because it brought Peter Parker back down to nothing again. And after he had, married Mary Jane, and they make, I can't remember the specifics. Chat will probably know, but I'm pretty sure
she's a clone.
No,
or I'm thinking something else.
No, the Clone Wars is also not well beloved, but I know what you're talking about. That was like a 90s storyline, the Clone Saga. That was a bad one. That was a rough one. But yeah, I was wondering. I was looking at this list, and I just thought it was amazing that like 5 or 6 years ago, this would be a dream run of movies, and now I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
oh no,
because the names are strong there, but it's all under the MCU banner of shit writing and shit standards and like the lack of creativity and no respect for the projects. And we know that they don't care about the lore. It's so layered at this point where like you can't help but be cynical, right?
And you sort of wonder as well, like how these things will fit together timeline-wise, because Avengers Doomsday, then it is Doomsday, then Spider-Man, then Secret Wars, right? So, I mean, potentially Spider-Man has to do something incredibly important leading into Secret Wars.
I think it might. You remember how Ant-Man 2 kind of was stuck between Infinity War and Endgame, but it really was like it was happening at the same time as Infinity War. I bet Spider-Man.
Yeah, normally the answer to the question, do you remember Ant-Man 2 is no, but I do remember what you're talking about, yes.
Yeah. If you remember that little bit.
Yeah, but even back then with those movies, I remember back then, like I'm not watching this, but I trust that they at least connect to like, you know, the continuity should be on point. You're not just gonna just jam this in. But then like we're at a point now where I have no idea if they even know what the continuity is. It's just how can you keep up with it?
Yeah, but remember Captain Marvel? This film is pivotal to fucking Endgame, and it wasn't.
That was the other one.
Nothing to do with Endgame.
Holy shit! That's when we just know we were getting used and lied to, because that was a waste
Mhm.
of fucking time. They got those numbers and moved on.
Because
I'm
it's
so happy the second one bombed.
I was gonna say we got him back with the second one. Though.
Like that was justice. That was like legit justice.
because you've got Brand New Day, and then Secret Wars is when the multiverse resets. So it's kind of a brand new start. Oh no, everything ends.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
everything-
They want a fresh new start and a reset at the same time. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They need to, and for me, I'm at a point where I don't even know what the solution is, because a reset is meaningless when the writing standards are just completely screwed. And I don't know. I think some type of acknowledgement in the lack of quality over the last few years and a plan to move forward. Like it needs to be acknowledged. You can't just reset everything and like turn a blind eye.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is they won't reset everything. They'll half-ass it because having Fantastic Four first steps and then get rid of everyone. They're gonna stay. Tom Holland's gonna stay as Spider-Man, but then Chris Hemsworth won't. It'll be a different fucking Thor.
And these are the same kind of problems. These same kind of problems happen in the comic books too when they reboot them every 10 years. They cherry pick what's going to remain canon and alter new and it like will completely retcon other things. So it's a very confusing. There is no real fresh start because some of it's still there, but some of it's not. And they've done it. DC has done it multiple times, and so has Marvel, and it never really clicks. It never really does its job. Like the Secret Wars, they're adapting. The comic books tried the retcon where like they brought in characters from other universes and tried to make them canon in the regular Marvel universe, the 616, and it just doesn't. It doesn't fly because you still have some of the old stuff and some of the new stuff. It's not going to be a fresh reboot where they're going to give you all new Fantastic Four in 2 years. You know, and I don't know what they're going to do with the X-Men.
How many times is Patrick Stewart going to have to die?
Yeah,
it's just died 4 times.
Yeah, it's insane.
I did a little video on it. He died 4 fucking times already.
Logan has even killed him in a fucking other film. WandaVision snapped his neck. Jean Grey evaporated him.
He died in X-Men Days of Future Past as well. He was killed by a Sentinel.
He got killed by a Sentinel.
It's crazy, and it ruins them overall because I think his death scene in X-Men 3 is one of the best parts of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah,
and it's
in a bad movie.
Yeah, it's so you always remember good scenes in bad movies. They just stand out completely. But they're slowly eroding that because it's just they keep bringing him back like this annoying key to Django, and he's falling apart like completely. Like 400 years old, man. You can't keep janking him.
Yeah, like that chair is actually a part of Patrick Stewart now. It's not a prop.
It's attached to his spine. Like, oh shit. And I love Patrick Stewart, you know, because for me, I never watched Star Trek, but I grew up with both my parents loved it, and so I grew up with his presence in my living room at all times, and his ability to emote and capture the audience. And like he had a presence to him, even for me who wasn't really paying attention because I was too young, and what didn't really interest me. But to see him go from that to what he is now, just like I just can't do this with
so elderly.
He's so old. He's on the other side of old, where it's like I don't want to hear you act anymore. And like once you get to that point, you have to have the self-awareness to know when to just chill out.
Yeah,
and at that age, it just accelerates too. And he was old like 3 or 4 years ago in Doctor Strange 2, and he's like, "Let me get you out to the rubble."
If I get you out, then maybe. And then they snap his fucking neck, and he gets head bonked over the fucking chair. Oh my god, that scene! And it just all happens so quick. You don't even have a chance to like absorb it. You're like, what? He's just dead? How? It's just fuck, man. Yeah, that scene is underrated when we talk about some of the stupidest scenes of all time.
What's that video online where someone's edited it and he's like doing grind rails in his chair all across the scene? I hope he does that in the film. Oh, he just skates everywhere.
Why was he late to the Illuminati fight? He just let them die and then showed up at the end. Traumatized with that movie.
That thing the wheels only go like 5 miles an hour, maybe.
Couldn't find disabled parking.
Yeah, needed to charge it.
But that's what I mean. He's a joke now. Look what happens when we said his name and it just invokes a bunch of memes, you know. So,
but it's gonna be him, and Magneto is also gonna be in the chair. Every one of the X-Men are gonna be old and in chairs because they can't stand for very long.
Yeah. I'm not looking forward to any of them. It's because at this point, it is when you're mentioning this many characters, you're genuinely just displaying your hand that they're keys that you're jangling because you can't write a story for this many characters.
No way.
You just can't do it.
Not unless like they are split up as teams and every team just functions as a character. Like this is the X-Man.
But that worked in Infinity War when it was a tight cast and they were all built up and we understood how they got to those positions. And it's like the chemistry was on point. Thor with the Guardians, amazing. Doctor Strange and Iron Man bumping heads, amazing. Like it's just it was on you. They knew what they were doing there and it was set up correctly. There's a bunch of characters we don't even fucking know or are meeting for the first time. It's not the end of a crazy arc. And like, do you remember when Infinity War, when Tony's like stretching his leg and like they're explaining the situation, he's like, "This is it." I just remember that line like hitting me. So I'm like, because this is like 10 years of buildup for this. Like, this is it. This actually is a perfect time for that line. You can't have any type of line like that in these next movies. Like, you've done nothing. This whole last few phases.
It's probably going to be much more like a Deadpool Wolverine thing, which is like they're on the screen and someone pulls their string and they tell a joke and that's it.
Well, speaking of how we feel about it all, Kevin Feige reportedly told Marvel colleagues that watching every new MCU project had begun to feel more like homework than entertainment. Employees talk regularly about Marvel fatigue and worry they've created a no new fans club where new viewers have no clue what's going on.
Hey, I've watched all of it and I have no clue what's going on either, so that's not the problem.
It's
a bigger problem than they even think it is.
This is your job, dude.
But it's as we said before, is literally you watch the stuff and you're punished because they just contradict themselves immediately afterwards. So you're wasting your time.
But by this statement, they don't even know that. And this is something like you couldn't foresee this at the beginning of this crazy Disney Plus era, that it was just going to become like oversaturated. And it's hard. Like the idea of, you see this in games when it's really hard to introduce new characters because the beginning is difficult and there's all the perks or whatever you need to unlock it's difficult. And you can see games that accommodate new players, and Marvel has become completely fucked for new people or like we've said, like diehard fans who are watching everything that comes out. Nobody knows what's going on, and now they've gotten to the point where they've given up. And
but I thought introducing the fucking minority Avengers was going to make people see themselves on screen and draw in new audiences, fresh faces. I guess that didn't fucking work, did it?
Eternals, diversity and inclusion, like that's all that movie was. All I've heard about the Eternals was that it was shit and it was diverse. Like that's it. You failed tremendously. Like I don't know. They're gonna look back at that era and have so many regrets in terms of the money they left on the floor with these characters.
It is the ultimate consistency. Like finally, I, as a black gay woman, can see myself in a shit character that nobody knows the name of. It's a win for representation, that is. But But the most successful they've been, I think, in sustaining a television universe alongside the cinematic universe was probably Netflix Daredevil, because they didn't cross over. There were the occasional reference to like the existence of the Avengers or like Thor's hammer or something like that. But otherwise, they proceeded as entirely independent entities, and you didn't have to watch one to understand the other. That probably is the way to do it if you're trying to have a TV cinematic universe and a cinematic universe, is that you occasionally have a reference, but you don't tie these things in together, because that's what they pretended they were doing when they launched Disney Plus. They said you wouldn't have to watch Disney Plus to understand any of the mainline films, and then they just forgot about that completely because they figured it would be more useful if they channeled people into the subscription service. If they just kept these things completely separate, that might have been a bit easier to follow, but they didn't, and now nobody knows what they're supposed to watch.
And they knew how to do it before. Like, you're completely right. They knew how to do it before. One of the best examples is Homecoming. You remember the Captain America like movies that they had to watch, like the little like the stupid PSA message.
Yeah.
Oh, like, this guy's a terrorist right now, but
but we gotta watch this anyway. We got jokes out of it. We got like continuity out of it. We got reference to Cap, and it's so quick. It just takes talent. You could do it, and you don't have to have them in the movie. You have to do all these things, but those are the scenes that you remember. And now they can't even do the bare minimum to fit it together, or they go overboard and try to connect everything to the point where it makes no sense. Like this,
well, they're not even worth referencing. Like, you're gonna reference Brave New World. You're gonna reference Thunderbolts. You're not gonna.
I paused there because I'm like, what? I've been calling it Captain Wakanda for so long. I forgot what movie. I'm like, what movie are you talking about, bro?
The thing is, like, there's no point even taking. But there's no point even taking the effort to reference any of these new movies because they're all shit.
Yeah, there really is no point, and I don't feel like I feel like they just don't watch them. They don't feel the need to. It probably makes their job more difficult. And the fact that they can still call this a cinematic universe while not watching their movies beforehand, it's crazy. I don't know how you can construct a story that way.
Well, you can't, and it's partly because like all of the other movies, they keep introducing these world-breaking mechanics. So if you do acknowledge them in any way, then you've completely destroyed the story you're currently trying to tell. So like Thunderbolts has this problem when it has Selena Meyer reference the fact that the last president turned into a giant, red hemorrhoid monster thing. That's the closest you get to a reference. But then you're told, well, like Ox's plan all along has been to try and recreate super soldiers. But then as soon as that's thrown in, you remember that the Brave New World movie has it that you can turn people into Hulks with pills. And then the Vulcan and the Winter Soldier has super soldier serum coming out of people's fucking ears. So like, you shouldn't be struggling with this because everyone can do it now. They keep introducing these world-shattering things. So
everyone in America should be a super soldier at this point. Like, it should just be regular. It should be mandatory in school for kids. It's just they've screwed it up completely.
Think of how much money people would save in healthcare if they're super 100%. Soldiers who can't get sick. It's just, why would you not do that?
I totally forgot about that scene where Baron Zemo is just stepping on super soldier serum.
Yeah.
There's that much of it. He can't destroy it all himself.
At least in Black Panther, that stupid ass movie, they were smart enough to have Homelander, Killmonger.
I wish.
Imagine Homelander going and burning the fucking bush in Wakanda. Oh my god. But Killmonger, they had him burn the plants, so at least we know that no one else can have the power. It's something. The plant was stupid, but at least burn it so it's not a problem anymore.
But then female Black Panther gets the powers.
Yeah.
So
then they regret that and have her recreate it through her stupid science anyway. Yeah, you're right. Fucking sure.
So several of the last movies have completely broken the world. So you can turn anyone into the Hulk, you can turn anyone into a super soldier. In Guardians of the Galaxy, they have technology where it repairs injuries automatically. They're just throwing it on them.
Yeah.
Imagine if people just combined all these things, what they could do.
Well, they did. That's Bob's origin story. They can create God now. So, like, what is there left to do? They can create fucking Daenerys Targaryen with everyone's powers, and then they can create Bob, who is God. So, what is there left? No one can beat these characters. It's why no one's ever acknowledged Daenerys Targaryen ever again, because she's just unusable.
She's just
the only thing that can stop a platoon is an incursion. And that's
oh
no. Because, like you said, you have this person now, Gaia, Loki, and like throw Captain Wakanda in there. He's pretty OP as well. It's just gone to a point where it's kind of pointless. And if they don't know that and they're in charge of these properties, it's insane.
Well,
It's
is it
not
because Tom
sustainable.
Hiddleston is in the new Secret Wars, so he's gonna have to get off his fucking chair throne tree thing and just be a normal god.
Does he though? Or maybe they're gonna be visiting him, or maybe he's just gonna be like, I don't know. I could see
Is
half
Thor gonna
of them not
call
having
him?
dialogue.
Loki,
Him
we
and
need your
Thor's
help. And he
relationship,
goes, no.
they don't even remember their brothers at this point. Like they're completely just like, yeah, it's screwed. There's the whole history and continuity those two characters have.
It would be
thrown out the
funny
window.
if you talk to Loki and go, God of Time, can you help us? And he goes, nah. And that's it.
That's it. Yeah, he just hangs up. It's a cell phone call. Click.
No,
I
thank
actually
you.
wanna see that.
I'm busy.
You can just turn him
I
into
don't know.
Bran from Game of Thrones, and he's just sitting there
Yeah.
not giving a shit about anything.
You know what? This is the only way to save this movie. They need to just memeify it. It's just got to be a joke. Yeah, like Bran Loki, like just embrace the memes and just make it a hilarious movie.
He does nothing and goes, why do you think I'm here? Like his grand plan was to do nothing.
Yeah, I secretly fucking hate Brandon Stark. Let me just throw that. I fucking hate that. You did nothing and you watched Theon die, you piece of shit, when you knew it was gonna happen like 30 seconds later. I
Theon,
hate you.
you're a good man.
You're a
Now
good
go
man,
and run into
Theon.
those spears and
Go-
die horribly.
Fucking Christ, man. They stab him with a piece of wood. You piece of shit. Theon's supposed to be a good fighter too. We never got to see that. We see his dick get cut off, we see him get tortured, and then he gets killed in the stupidest way imaginable after 8 seasons.
And then Tyrion has the nerve to say, who has a better story than Bran the Broken? And it's like, literally every single character has a better story. Bran was so irrelevant, he wasn't in an entire season.
Old Nan from season 1 and her wicked stories. Just from her storytelling, you know she had a better fucking story than that stupid kid. You dumbass. He should have died in first episode. None of this would have happened. Sorry, Cynic. It's a sore fucking
PTSD.
As always. Just PTSD flare up at all times. Where were we?
Marvel fatigue is where we were, which is naturally how we ended up with Game of Thrones. But yeah, he's right. It does feel more like homework than entertainment. But then it is his job to watch all of these things. He is executive producer on every single Marvel project. So he should have spotted this some considerable time ago.
Rings of Power season 2 felt much more like work rather than the spectacle of season 1. But it's your job. You still want to put in the effort to make the videos that we want to make, right? You can't just skim over it and just like you still need to go in with the same passion, even if it's just, you know. But the fact that he's willing to publicly say this is a bad thing. Like, don't let the mask slip to this point, Kevin.
I'm now trying to figure out how they can possibly have She-Hulk in it, because, you know, if we bring the mechanics through, she can just kick her way out of the universe and tell Kevin to change the script.
Shit.
So
yeah, She-Hulk. She can be
because Kevin is canonically a character in the MCU.
Yeah, but she's more selfish. That's her problem. So she wouldn't try and save anyone else's lives. She'd just walk off and not help anyone.
Yeah. She'd bang all the guys in the room before she does
She attacked the people at Marvel. She attacked all the security guards who were just doing their jobs.
Yeah, She-Hulk's entitlement is the most pourful force in the Marvel universe for sure. Like,
even Doomsday goes, "I'm evil, but I'm not that evil."
Jeez, I just don't know where they're gonna go from here for most of them. Like, She-Hulk is toast. Like, you'd have to completely. Would you consider like just completely ignoring She-Hulk and taking a serious approach with Tatiana Maslany's She-Hulk? Like, literally just go right in.
Yeah.
They ignore so many other characters. Why not?
If you're going to do like the soft reboot strategy like Thunderbolts, you might as well just introduce her as though she's a brand new character and just pretend that we've never seen her before and she's not had a story. And then, you know, turn her into something better. But how are you going to turn her into something better when she's got to share the screen with 64 other people?
Yeah. Where's Captain Marvel? Is she just not? She doesn't exist in this universe anymore.
I think she's coming back. No, she's on the list of people coming back. If this extra list is to be believed, she's on that list. So
she's always in space, just doing things because she's too OP to be on Earth. She's too overpowered.
She's too disliked to be on Earth.
That too.
It's a character that I hope little kids learn from that in terms of understanding balance, and like you need a character or a show that introduces you to the concept of something being so OP that it ruins the structure of your show. And I hope a lot of kids learned what Captain Marvel was and why it, like, everything about the MCU, like when the stakes are just completely shot on. You can't fucking have characters like that. And then when you push it to the point of like Gaia is a joke. That image of her flexing her arm is like
one of the greatest memes of all
yeah,
time.
it's incredible in terms of what it represents and just everything. It's so remarkably layered as an image. It's incredible, and I hate that happened to Emilia Clarke. She's just taken L's for the last 10 years.
I remember during Endgame when Carol Danvers is crushing Thanos' hand. When he hits it off screen, my brother said when he wanted to see it in the theater, everyone cheered when he hit Carol
my theater
Danvers.
cheered. I was like, "Don't you fuck!" Yeah! I was trying to do it like eternally, but then my theater actually yelled out, so I didn't have to because people were. It was such an important moment for the future of this movie and the future of the MCU. You cannot let her just murk Thanos, and when he just pop one shot her.
And in England, they don't really cheer. It's a very quiet theater. So how hated do you have to be to make English people cheer that you got hit off screen?
That's hilarious.
There's this is just Marvel Day today, so
yeah.
Wall Street Journal also reports that Kevin Feige reportedly has a 10-year plan for the X-Men beyond the upcoming Avengers movies.
Bullshit.
I would hope so. You would think
Kevin Feige has a plan. I no.
But it's hard to take seriously when we've seen what the last 10 years of his plan is. It's like, I'm not going to believe that he has a 10-year plan for the X-Men that will actually be realized when, like, he was the one who created and said yes to Phase 4, Phase 5, and probably also Phase 6.
You can't hype up a 10-year plan unless you explain the last 5 years of bullshit. Like, it's just doesn't work that way.
What was that timeline? Remember, they had the New Mutants, you had the Inhumans, you had all these extra projects, and then as the series went on, they all just got scrapped or went on Disney Plus.
Well,
he always has these timelines that go nowhere.
Well, with the Fox purchase, God, that was a long time ago now. Yeah. I remember when it was just happening. The Inhumans were supposed to be the X-Men replacement because they didn't have the rights to them. And then you get the rights to the X-Men back, and you're like, oh, well, fuck that team. Yeah, that's no. So that's
Is that the horror one they released with that Arya was in?
Oh yeah, they released like a horror. I didn't even see that one.
That movie even exists? Did I imagine it? Like I've never heard anyone talk about it. I haven't heard anyone who saw it.
I don't even remember the name.
I never even heard of it. There's a
this
chat. What's the name of that movie?
Did I just make that up, or is this actually a movie that
no,
happened on the planet?
It was a bunch of teenagers. Yeah, I remember.
I just have this image.
Was it the New Mutants? Was that it?
That's what I thought we were talking about. That's why I was asking. Is that what it is?
I'm asking chat. Yeah, there we go. Chat's right on.
Okay.
I had no idea that thing even existed. The New Mutants is a film. When was that made?
It was
came
made
out
like
2020.
5 or 6 years ago, but it took forever to come out.
Yeah, 4 people on the planet watched it. And like to the point where I'm going to question if it even exists, because like, why is no one like? It's just
Rotten Tomatoes 36%.
Oof. Well, I remember it was reshot and then it was shelved because they just did not want to release it. It was an embarrassment. And then they finally shot it out. And...
Came out August 2020.
I'm just curious. It's usually in our sphere, you're going to have someone who's at least seen it and can reference it and talk about it. But it's just one of the movies that slipped by. I'm just curious as to how shit do you have to be for reviewers not even wanting to review your ass or even mention it? Like, I find it fascinating. I got to go back.
Well, it was like the dying fart of a franchise. Like there was just
the purchase already had gone through, so it was just the dying.
There was no point.
It's still superhero adjacent, so you would think someone would have checked it out or had an opinion on it. The fact that I've never heard an opinion on this film to the point where I'm questioning if it exists is like this is a rare one.
Well, with this 10-year plan of the X-Men that apparently exists, I certainly wouldn't think that it's going to have any of the Fox cast in it. So what the fuck are you going to do? Like the Secret Wars situation is to bring together everyone for nostalgia, but then is it going to be the X-Men that really do get a reboot and have an all new cast?
You'd expect, yeah, them and the Fantastic Four are going to have to be like I don't want to say the word anchor beings because fuck that concept, but they kind of, you would expect them to be the anchor beings of phase 6 and 7, right? Because you don't introduce them only to get rid of them.
But the anchor being for X-Men over the last few years has been Wolverine. I don't think they have the balls to actually show an X-Men movie without him being the focus.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see Morph, I want to see Beast, I want to see the beginning of Xavier starting that school. Like, I love X-Men as much or more than like Marvel itself. Like, I adore X-Men, and I just don't want to see it get used by the Disney methods. Like, I just want, like, if I have to wait 10 years for more good X-Men content, I'll wait. Just get it away from these people.
Well, if it's a 10-year plan, they'll want X-Men in their 20s, so I don't think they'll cast Wolverine for the first movie. I think they'll tease him at the very end and then bring him in X-Men 2.
Yeah, build up to that in some way.
They're all going to be young as
X-Men
well.
team did not have Wolverine in it, so it would make sense. I wonder if what they'll do is go the traditional route.
Yeah, if they really want to go that way, I want to see more Beasts, like some of the OGs they were at the beginning. Let Cyclops actually be a fucking character before Wolverine just comes and teabags him. Like, holy hell!
Wolverine just cucks him.
Completely stole his bike, stole his girl, and the fucking film like rooted for him. Like, how many assholes Wolverine as a character probably produced, like as an bad influence, you know? Oh my god, he deserved better. He really did, because he's actually a good character in the cartoons. I like him.
One more Marvel slide.
Yeah,
and I think this is the last Marvel slide. This I found hilarious.
Did you see? I saw the interview, right?
Yeah, I did too. Yeah. They only offered Jeremy Renner half the money for season 2 of Hawkeye, which he declined. In his own words, he told them to go fly a kite, which I believe he was just being kind. But yeah, they only offered him half the money, so that's why it didn't happen.
But even then, like he seems just like a really nice guy. He didn't even come across as bitter about it. He was just like, oh yeah, I would have liked to do it, but I know I'm not going to take half the money, so no. But I'd like to do it still. And yeah, he's like, yeah, that's the quote on screen. Do you think I'm only half the Jeremy because I got run over, which is quite funny.
Yeah, you have to. Well, do the numbers justify that? Like, is there any argument that they can say? Because I don't know if Hawkeye did good or not or anything, but offering a man half the money that he was offered last time is pretty fucked up.
Hawkeye's one of those really weird ones where I remember watching it at the time thinking this isn't very good, and then rewatching it as homework thinking, well, it still isn't very good, but it's probably the best Disney Plus Marvel show. Maybe I didn't see Moon Knight. That might arguably tie with it, but like it's kind of the Thunderbolts thing with Hawkeye. There are some genuinely strong scenes and character moments in it, I think, but it's just kind of couched in a bunch of character assassination bullshit. Kingpin gets run over, exploded, and shot in the head, all in the space of 15 minutes. So it's not great. If they'd left him out, it would have been a substantially better show. I don't know what the viewership was though.
Well, most people would. I've heard a few people say Hawkeye is the most tolerable one, and most people agree the best, at least things they've done, is the first 3 episodes of WandaVision before it went to shit. But excluding that, is there anything that was like just palatable at all that they've made?
Oh yeah, also introduced Echo. How could I forget?
Definitely not Echo.
But again, probably would have been better if she hadn't been tied in with Kingpin explicitly. Like you could have done stuff with that character just to flesh out that part of the world. There's a thing I liked about it. I actually think it caught the seasonal charm aspect pretty well. I liked the dynamic between Clint and Kate Bishop. I think it's good. I quite like the dynamic between Kate Bishop and Yelena as well. I think Yelena's pretty good, and obviously it's Florence Pugh, so instant 2 points to the show. Like there are some nice character moments. This small scale kind of adventure buddy cop sort of lone wolf / child story. Lots of interesting ish tropes in a fairly small scale inoffensive story until it gets to the whole Kingpin bit, and then it goes completely off the rails.
Oh god, my boy.
Poor Jeremy Renner. He gets run over, then gets lowballed.
Yeah, that sucks.
I was trying to look at the viewership. It says the first episode got 1.5 million households in its first 5 days.
So not
which
good.
Isn't big, I don't think. I don't know what the average for Disney Plus is, but that seems pretty small to me.
You know, if the Russo brothers had a sense of humor, they'd bring Hawkeye back for Secret Wars and have him be run over by a truck.
I want to see it. They need to kill characters off anyway, so fuck it. Let's do it.
Oh, fuck.
He dies the same way he crashed his snowplow.
We do have time, I think, for a couple more topics here before we get to super chats. So these are not Marvel related, but they are awful movie related.
No.
Jurassic World 4 writer David Kep says winged mutodons will appear. They are a combination of a pterosaur and a velociraptor.
For fuck's sake.
So it's
Why?
not. Remember the glory of the original Jurassic Park where it was incredible because you thought you were really seeing like a rendition of real dinosaurs, and now it's just they're monsters. They're kaiju.
Yeah, completely.
That's what this is. Yeah, they are targeting the retarded MonsterVerse audience is what they're doing with this. That's
100%.
You don't need to do it. And it's going to be something fucking stupid as well. It's like, well, we thought if we combined a pterosaur into Velociraptor, we could have it drop grenades on the Taliban. It'll be something fucking awful like that.
Or do you think they'll ride it like Pegasus?
Oh, God.
Laser pointed, stupid, fucking hypercharged raptors. Like, what is the point, man?
How cool is it when he was riding a motorcycle with his Velociraptor pack?
Holy shit, that was dumb, man. The invisible dinosaur. They've done it all in such a short span of time. And like to this day, one of my favorite horror scenes is the Velociraptors in the kitchen. It's so simple. It's so well done. It's so well constructed. Even like the little mirror point. I just remember the tension I felt when I first watched that. You're never gonna feel tension like that ever again in these movies because they just turned them into these stupid fucking plastic kaiju monsters. The respect for them being ancient reptiles that actually lived on this planet at one point is like completely gone from their thought process. It's so annoying what they've done with this franchise. Because if
they were gonna redo the door scene, I bet you a tenner they would have them put the key code in. The little sharp nails going beep beep beep, get the code right, and then open the door.
Man, they just. I don't even. We're gonna have one like within the next few years. We're gonna have like talking dinosaurs or something. We're gonna get to that point.
We did in Jurassic Park 3. Don't you remember?
Alan. No, that was a dream, Cynic. That doesn't count. It was a dream.
It's still the mouth moved.
Alan. That's one of the best things that's ever happened in a movie. For sure. Oh man, but no, I think they're gonna get to that point, man. Because what can we do now? We're combining dinosaurs. You have the snow creature that I showed you. Like, oh god,
the Snookosaurus. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that
retarded
one.
Rex, man. Oh, I don't know what they're doing.
It's actually, isn't it? It's actually genuinely called the D Rex, isn't it? The Drex, the D Rex, deformed Rex.
That real?
Yes.
Yeah, I said
Big D Rex coming up.
Okay, fuck me.
Because the premise is that like, this isn't Isla Sorna and it's not Isla Nublar. It's a third island where InGen did crazy experiments on dinosaurs for no conceivable gain.
Yeah.
And that's why they have the Mutodons and the D-Rex.
They can just keep doing that. Like there could be another island and another one every time they need a new trilogy.
Godzilla versus Kong versus D-Rex coming up.
Oh,
it's going to happen. Might as well.
You have the slides yet?
I don't have a slide for the D-Rex situation, but it's real.
Oh yeah, in the trailer at the very end of it is this fucking ugly dinosaur that's got giant arms.
Yeah, it's this big crazy mutant that looks like Snoke from The Last Jedi.
It looks like an Elcor from Mass Effect.
Rancor and Snoke had a baby or something.
Yeah. But it's like how are they even going to justify the experimentations? Let's make this fucking massive thing that'll kill us all. What a great idea.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like at this point, because John Hammond, I love his character because he genuinely wanted to create wonder and like amazement with little children. He wanted it to be affordable for everybody. It was something that he was truly passionate about. What the fuck is your thought process when you make a Snoke monster that's just like look like a complete demon? I don't get it at all.
See, I sewed the dinosaur's head onto a dog's ass. Aren't I crazy? He's like, no, you're fucking stupid.
Oh, this is another side. It's the genetic engineer character from South Park who just sticks like 5 asses on every kind of animal.
There's no point to what he does.
I get it.
Or unless he's trying to grow a giant dinosaur dick and attach it to himself.
Like, is there
He's
any
got a
way they can make
tiny- He's got a tiny dick and he spends all year growing gigantic ones and trying to graft it onto himself. That's his arc.
big dino dick?
He's Chinese as well.
This is gonna make a great BSUP mini clip.
Oh my god, this is a piece of shit idea. I just think, is there any way to make this work, or is it just complete peak insecurity?
Oh,
When you
peak
can't even make
insecurity,
dinosaur.
dude.
Yeah, you can't even make dinosaurs scary and
There are
interesting.
they still discover new dinosaurs that are cool as fuck. So why are we making up dinosaurs?
Yeah, that's there are 165 million years worth of dinosaurs to choose from. We don't need to be like jamming bits together. It's just dumb.
If you have a story of like a
source
group of people
material, bro.
trapped- Even if you have a group of people trapped and they're trying to get away from a polar bear, and that's the movie. We all know what polar bears are. We've seen them our whole life. It could still be fucking intense. It's just down to writing. The idea that you can't even make dinosaurs scary when you have all the access to pretty much all of them. Like, you have so many different types of dinosaurs you can use, and you have to fucking mutate them with stupid fusion, mutadon. Like, what?
It would be funny if they did the South Park thing where the people from PETA are breeding with the animals, and you got the half human, half duck thing, and it goes, "Kill me."
This is pure body horror Jurassic Park.
When they did that in Resurrection, I think that's one of the only like decent scenes in that movie, Alien Resurrection, when you see the mutated bodies and whatnot, and Ripley
Oh,
feels
yeah.
bad and then kills them. It kind of makes more sense for them to be doing that, Weyland Yutani. But here, what are you doing? They've completely lost the plot when it comes to this. I don't know what the purpose of these movies are.
The
anymore.
next one will be half human, half dinosaur, half raptor, of course.
That's what I'm saying. We're gonna get to the point where we see one talking. Like,
Yeah.
the Alan meme's gonna come to life. His name is gonna be Alan.
It'll be
Like,
Alan Raptor.
Alan the
Or like they'll like stick John Hammond's brain in like a mutated T-Rex Stegosaurus thing, and like he's the supervillain of the franchise. He's been
That's
really
his
bringing
grand
himself back
plan.
to
As
life.
he's killing someone, he's gonna be like, "Look at the fleas, mummy! Can't you see the fleas?"
I was a billionaire. Now I'm a retarded T-Rex.
I
My
spared
grand
no
plan.
expense, and then he eats them.
He says, "Damn!" right after.
But haven't they got dinosaurs already in the water surrounding the island? So shouldn't these dinosaurs just spread across the world?
Well, yeah, because the Mosasaurus thing escaped, didn't it? At the end of one of them, I'm sure the beginning of Jurassic World Dominion, it's just in the ocean by some surfers or something, and then
Yeah, they were living with dinosaurs pretty much at the beginning of Dominion. It's a retarded
Yeah.
film.
oh yeah, because there's the logging camp that the clone girl goes to, and like they use the flares to guide a fucking diplodocus out of the camp. It's just God, that movie.
It's so I lose my fucking mind thinking about that movie. I can't believe it
So,
exists.
is this a
Living-
continuation or a soft reboot?
Well, that's a good question. It was so bad. It made money, but it was so bad. I wonder if they are going to try and do a soft reboot type thing, which is why I think the quote from the article was like, well, we've seen what dinosaurs are like living with humans. We fucking haven't. You just broke it, but never mind. Now we're going to go and see what it's like if we put humans where dinosaurs live. We've never done
thing.
that before.
It's the same thing.
What are they doing?
Humans with dinosaurs.
I remember seeing an article or something where they acknowledged that Dominion made money, but yeah, this is kind of like pretty much in so many words. They said this is shit and we gotta like retool. So I think this is gonna be a reboot of some kind. I don't see any continuity from Dominion B. If they have a set of sense in their head, you just delete Dominion and you just pretend it never happened and try to hold on to this IP and do something with it.
Is Chris Pratt coming back in this movie?
No.
No, that again leads me to think probably a soft reboot then.
Yeah,
because
ScarJo is the main attraction.
ScarJo's boobs and a Mutasaurus or Mutadon.
ScarJo's ass. What do you mean?
Oh yeah. What am I talking about?
But she's like head of security. She goes, "I'm gonna get you there safely." He goes, No, you the fuck not. No way. You're tiny. I'm twice your size, and these are fucking dinosaurs. What is a tiny woman gonna do? Give me a gun instead. I'll be fine.
She has the gun. She's got it covered.
They could potentially do this, I think, twice more, because doesn't the Lost World establish that there's 5 islands in this chain? They called them like the Cinco Muertes or something, like the 5 deaths. So like we've had Isla Sorna, Isla Nublar, Isla, whatever the fuck this one is, there
Mhm.
are still 2 entire other islands that we could plumb for
Each
more
island
terrible
gets a
movies.
They could just
trilogy.
keep doing it. That's what I'm just saying that they could just bring out a new island anytime they need to make money, make a trilogy. Because
So
people
what
will
does
pay to
each
see
island?
dinosaurs.
What does each island does? Because Island 4 will be half humans.
Yeah,
What will
Mhm.
Island 5 be?
mechs. It'll be like robot dinosaurs.
Cyborgs, Beast
It'll be
Wars.
Turok, you know.
Transformers or something?
Yeah,
Yeah. Fuck.
It's like
We had
Op-
one. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Reaper.
I was just gonna say it's like Optimus Prime going, "I'm not a dinosaur."
I am not a dinosaur. I'm coming.
it's just hate what's happened to this franchise, and it's the problem is for all the other franchises that we hate, the pillaging and the sequelitis over and over and over again. This is the only one that's still making money, so it means they're not going to stop. And yeah,
They keep hitting 1 billion.
yeah.
Yeah.
At
And
least
this one's got
Predator's
a
forced to try new things here and there. You know, they don't make enough money to just stick to the formula.
well, these. I mean, so Jurassic World Dominion had like that huge budget of like nearly 500 million, I think it was, before marketing, and it made 1 billion. But I think they said that they were going to be more restrained with this movie, so it only has a budget of about $300 million. I think it is. So, yeah, we're reining it in. We're being more realistic with our budgets these days.
Well, that movie had like stupid scenes where like they're gambling over the dinosaurs and there's people being eaten in the background, but nobody's reacting, and like all sorts of crazy dinosaurs just being thrown in. It was the one Jurassic Park movie where they were trying to show off the dinosaurs more than anything. Just have them on screen for any reason whatsoever. So of course you're gonna balloon the budget with that shit. Like it was senseless completely. But if they are gonna rein it in to some degree, then I have more hope for this movie than I would for like a sequel to Dominion or anything with another Chris Pratt like continuity.
I'm surprised he didn't play cards with a velociraptor, and then he does the scene where the tail comes around, pokes him on the shoulder, he looks away, and then he swaps the cards. The velociraptor. I'm surprised he didn't do that.
No, we had flaming locusts instead.
He turns back and says, "Clever girl."
We did have one more topic, and I thought this was hilarious. So, as reported by Variety, some Oscar voters admit they just press play on the Screeners app to meet viewing requirements, then mute the audio or switch tabs. The app only needs to see that you watched it. It doesn't know if you're sitting there.
Why are you here then? Like, what are you?
That, like, as if you could become more fucking irrelevant.
Yeah,
The people actually voting say they don't even. They basically are admitting they already predetermined who they're selecting. They don't give a fuck at minimum, and don't even watch what they're supposed to be voting on.
yeah, it's not legit at all.
incredible.
You don't even want to check out the competition and have an idea for what was the best film that year or the best whatever you're looking for. You admit your bias with this. It's like, yeah. Oscars is just completely fallen into irrelevancy. It's crazy.
Well, we know it's all political anyway.
Yeah.
But this, I mean, it's just another reinforcement of that theory. It's not even a theory. It's an unspoken truth.
Yeah, pretty much, because people cared about the opinions or like the events of the Oscars at some point because it meant a lot to be an Oscar winner. Now it's just a joke. It's fallen completely off the planet, and like, and I don't think it can rebuild that. It's really hard to get credibility back for this type of thing.
It only means something to the people winning it now. It used to mean something to me as a fan of a film.
Yeah, I remember watching The Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. I'm like, this better win every fucking Oscar on the planet. I'm like, good. 10 more. Let's keep going. And they won all 11. And I was like, yes, eat that. Because they should have won Best Picture for all 3, in my opinion. And so that's when it meant something. But now it's just, were you saying, Reaper?
It also had good competition with Master and Commander.
Yes, I say to this day, Master and Commander is the most underrated movie, possibly of all time, because of Return of the King. It's like whoever was playing around, like when Michael Jordan's there, whoever the best basketball player is around at that time.
Karl Malone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You get
Charles
overshadowed.
Barkley.
You play it at the same time as Michael Jordan. That sucks. Like Master and Commander got screwed by Return of the King. I love that movie, but it is what it is.
In the last Oscars, it was Emilia Perez. And fucking
best movie ever made, you mean?
Do you think Joker should have won over Parasite? I think that's an interesting discussion.
I
That
think
was
it's
one of
more
my-
well. Here's the thing: I was before the sequel came out, it would have been more culturally relevant than Parasite. Still,
But is it cultural relevance or actual, storytelling? Because my reason for picking Parasite was that I hadn't seen a film structured like that, where Joker,
would
as much
be
as I love
for-
it, is basically a character study.
it would be for relevance, not for story.
For you or the Oscars?
Well, the Oscars usually it'll go 50-50.
Well, actually, that's a
so
stupid question when I say it. They don't know what the hell they're doing.
they don't know, like if they'll pick based on just cultural pressure or if it's actually because the film deserves it. So for me,
for your own criteria would be cultural relevancy.
Yeah, like I think in 1994, Pulp Fiction probably should have won. Well, it was also a better movie than Forrest Gump, but it has a cultural relevance that Forrest Gump does not have, and everyone saw that. I even knew that when I was like 7, watching that shit.
Yeah. What about you guys, Platoon, Reaper? Assuming you saw both movies.
I think I enjoyed Joker more.
Hmm.
Parasite was quite unusual. I'd say Joker should have won. Although it is basically Taxi Driver.
I don't
So,
agree
like-
with. I don't agree. I think it paid homage to Taxi and King of Comedy and a few other ones, but I don't agree that it's just Taxi Driver. I think,
But in terms of originality, yeah, it's a bit of a slightly more derivative, whereas Parasite is quite unique. There wasn't anything quite like it, so
Mhm.
you do give it points for that. But I enjoyed Joker more.
Yeah, I think that's what it come down to you, Platoon. What do you think?
I may have missed the first half of the comment. Is it Parasite versus Joker?
Well, which one do you think deserved the Oscar winner? And it was basically which criteria, like our standards. Was Cynic was more so like Joker had more of a impact on pop culture, and Reaper kind of
More story. I liked.
Yeah. Joker, as
Um,
much as I loved, I think it was not as original as Parasite. So I picked Parasite as I just hadn't seen a movie structured like that, so that's why I thought Parasite deserved it. But I think
I
it's an
actually
interesting
don't
topic.
think I've seen Parasite yet, so I can't answer the
What?
question.
You of all people, I'm actually baffled by that.
It was one of those ones that I came out and I think I was aware of, and then for various reasons didn't have time to get around to, and it sort of stuck on that list because my list gets longer and longer every fucking minute. But it's high on the list.
Did you watch Emilia Perez though?
Yes, but I had to do that. That's my job. I had to see that one.
Yeah, that was
Even
a
just a
good
reference
one.
for conversations and whatnot, it would be good. But for entertainment purposes as well, it's a really good film. I'm surprised.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely a must watch.
The last slide on this list was just for funsies. Steven Spielberg calls The Godfather the greatest American film ever made.
I'm like the only one in the world who hasn't seen The Godfather. I swear.
What?
Yeah, it's on my list. It's on my list.
haven't seen it either.
Yes,
the fuck?
Reaper, high five. There we go. Finally,
Well,
someone like
I feel
Everyone
like
should
I've
come
seen
for
it
it.
because I've seen every scene, but I've never watched the movie.
Oh man.
it's on there.
I think it's cliche to pick it as like your favorite movie or whatever, but
Yeah.
it really is that fucking good. It's just a
It better
goddamn
be
great
after all
film.
this hype. They've been hyping this movie up since I was a kid. I swear.
It is really good. Same with two is also pretty
Yeah,
good.
two's
It's
great.
Stay away from
three,
three.
which is not so good.
Did
but-
you see he re-edited part 3 as it was called like Godfather Coda?
Oh, I never watched it, but I knew he did it.
It is better. It makes it watchable.
Okay.
Well, for someone who
Start.
loves, I love American Gangster. I love Scarface. Is it within those realms? Like I do love.
No, this is like classy. Scarface is like dirty cocaine.
Yeah, I would say it was on
know?
the same realm, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's not like Goodfellas or Casino or like Sopranos or anything like that. It's different tonally.
I never watched Sopranos.
Neither did I.
but it is totally different than Casino or like something Martin Scorsese would put out. You can see he was influenced by this type of stuff, but all the same, it's in a realm of its own. It's pure class. Like it's not. There's obviously a lot of violence in the film, but it's not a Martin Scorsese type of filmmaking.
Yeah, well, Scarface, he's watching a guy get cut up with a chainsaw.
Yeah, not quite like that.
Yeah,
That's pretty violent.
I mean, a dude gets shot up with a Tommy gun at point blank range in Godfather, but
That's cool.
for some reason, just the way it's filmed, it's not quite as it's never comes off as brutal as something like in Scarface, even though the chainsaw scene is mostly implied. Like you don't see much.
Yeah,
see
you
the
don't really
blood
see much.
splattering, but yeah.
Yeah, they were careful with those type of things, trying to make sure it doesn't get too violent for a certain rating or whatnot.
Well, wait, and you see the arm dangling, I believe, if I remember correctly. That's about it. But yeah, well, I guess this is an endorsement for the film, and you guys should see it at some point soon.
Well,
I thought we'd all be like, "Yeah, it is the best."
No, I've got to watch Doctor Who, and I've got to watch The Last of Us, and I've got to watch this misery, this utter dog shit
you're
instead of
continuing
some
The Last of Us?
masterpiece.
You're continuing
What?
that shit?
Oh, I'm up to date.
Oh, Dina and Ellie on a horse talking shit. Like I
they scissor each other this episode.
I can't. They fucked Joel and I'm out, man. Like that actually, like,
And now
I
they're
had 2
fucking
years
each other.
to anticipate it, and I still was pissed when it happened. Like that's some horseshit.
Ah, it's miserable. It's just it's my teen drama in the apocalypse.
We had a really cool father-daughter dynamic with more drama to explore after what he did, and in a zombie apocalypse show, and we pissed that away for whatever the hell this is. I think it's a colossal mistake. Bella Ramsey can't carry the show. As someone who's not even watching, I'm gonna say that confidently. There's no way
she looks like a beluga whale.
She looks like a fucking potato. Like I can't. And like I rewatched first season 1, and her acting improved tremendously towards the end. From the whole arc with the deaf kid and on, I think she was good. Before that, I think she was shit, and I feel like she's regressed back to a worse version of her at the beginning of season 1. She's so annoying, so unlikable. I don't get it.
She has created lots of very funny memes, though. I mean, it is bullying, but the Buzz Lightyear one's very funny.
I love the shrunken face on her head.
Yeah, that's the good shit. Right?
It's ruthless. It's ruthless, man. But I think I don't even think that's so much people hating on Bella Ramsey. People hating on the reaction to the bad casting and forcing us to act like she looks like Ellie when we have the chick from Romulus who literally looks exactly like, just show up. She's already there. They don't have to do any makeup. They don't have to change her hair. She looks exactly like Ellie from the games. And
but that is pretty classic from Neil Druckmann, because he always uses women and hides behind women despite being a male feminist. Like he kept using the death threats, quote death threats, because we didn't really see any, about what's her face, the voice actress who people said they were going to kill her, but then they provided no receipts. She played Abby, the voice actor, Laura Bailey. He used her because they made that giant document. What's the word called? I'm stupid now. Documentary. That's it. Don't know why I couldn't remember that word. But they made that thing called Last of Us Grounded, and it was like, oh, we were bullied, the women were bullied, and then now he's doing the same thing with Bella Ramsey. He knew he knew she's not good enough for Ellie, but he casted her to do this.
It's like Reba. They did the same thing before she even came out. They're like, "Oh, you guys are gonna hate her because you're toxic fanboy, racist motherfuckers." It's preemptive. They know exactly what they're doing, and it's a narrative that's easy to push, and they don't need any proof. But people are tired of it to the point where they want receipts now. You're right.
Oh boy. Well, that did it for all the slides I made for today. So I think that means super chats, I believe. And to start out, there's a lot. God damn. To start out is TGV Monster sent in a few here. He says, "Hi everyone, howdy.
Hello."
And, He also says, I feel like Ghost could just end every fight just by phasing her hand through someone's head or heart, but then the movie would be over.
But doesn't she
Yes.
imply that she would die? Because if she says she doesn't know where she's going, she'd get crushed to death.
Yeah.
So it would imply her hand would smush as well. So you'd kill them, but you'd lose your hand.
Which isn't how it worked in Ant-Man and the Wasp, because I rewatched it
No.
for homework, but they decided that yes, that will be that's the limitation now.
For this film. Next film it won't be.
Yeah, next
It'll be
film,
something else
Retcon.
entirely, yeah.
TGV Monster also says, I'm looking forward to 28 years later. Feel it's already going to be better than The Last of Us slop on Max. By the way, did Backface like Snow White? I'm curious. He
Probably.
did.
Really? I am
White?
surprised and shocked and everything.
What?
That just
Does he
shows
have a
how much
sense
of a
of taste?
professional he is at minimum, because he did a fucking bang up job on my video of it, shitting all over it for 30 minutes straight. So
What? How did he like it? Like, what did he say? I gotta know. Like, this is insane. I've never heard a single soul defend that movie.
Was he dropped on his head as a child?
Is he an alien? Like, I just Bagface, explain, please, if you're out there. What did you like about Snow
this is
White?
why he left the BSUP gang, because he doesn't jive
He
with
doesn't-
us.
Well, this is
You-
polite. I could say way worse things.
No, I'm actually speechless on that. Like, I would love for him to be here and I'll just pop up in the middle to explain his reasoning, because like I don't get it at all, man. That movie is atrocious and like
It'll
one
be
of the most
something
boring
like
things I've
the
ever seen.
lighting on that particular green screen was really good.
But not even that. It looked like
He would
shit.
say that film is not just a story medium, it's a visual medium.
And Snow White fails on every single
Yeah, that's what I
count.
mean. This is the one film
Right.
you can't defend with all
And
that
it
shit.
looks like shit.
Like
so you can't
TLJ,
really
for
use
all
that
its TLJ looked great. I've never said anything about that. Jake Skywalker, like Mark Hamill did a great job playing Jake Skywalker. The acting was on point. There's things you can defend. With this, I'm speechless that he actually liked that movie. That someone would admit that publicly. Like, it's such a horrible movie in every way.
As a glass half full type of person here, since he's my friend, I agree with M8566. I love Bagface. You can find
That's
the
what
good
I'm
in
saying.
anything.
I'm not shitting on him. This is like for science. I'm just like curious, like for research purposes. How? What did you like about it? I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't feel.
I'll text him and see, like,
like
why
Bagface.
did you like that movie?
Tell
I
him,
completely
tell him-
disagree. I just want to know why.
tell him what he finds good about Bella Ramsey's face.
He might say it's punchable, to be honest. Once in a while, he agrees. So, TGV Monster also gifted one Little Platoon membership.
Welcome.
Visitor number 23 says, to all on the panel, what's your favorite movie? I love these questions.
Oh, I hate these questions. It's impossible to answer.
As an autist, I have a list, and it's in
Yeah, I
chronological
kind of
order.
have something, right? What are we
What
talking
is
about
the
in
top
terms
of your
like,
chronological
quality?
list?
The Matrix is my favorite movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a good movie.
It is.
There's like favorite in terms of which one I'd want to rewatch a million times to go to space with. There's like easy answers like The Lord of the Rings, but then there's movies like The Prestige and District 9 that I just feel like are damn near flawless and
I'm
extremely
so
well constructed.
Disappointed we never got a sequel.
District 9 is my favorite alien movie, my favorite sci-fi movie. But I think The Prestige is the best script I've ever seen in terms of construction and personally the best twist I've ever seen in a movie. Incredibly well acted, phenomenally written, and the way the plot is structured is very unique as well.
That film got ruined for me because I never watched it in the cinema, and I was flicking through TV. I went, "Oh, The Prestige." I put it on. It was the very scene he gets shot,
Oh god, jeez, yeah.
and I went. I turned it off and I went, "Oh, that's ruined for me." And I went, "Oh, it's ruined. I'll just put it back on." I put it back on, and he went, "A twin." And I went, "Oh, I really ruined it for myself." I could have saved something.
The fucking movie literally starts off with are you watching closely? Like it's like a magic trick from the very beginning. And I've never seen a movie that's so confident about bragging about its twist through from the very beginning because it's structured in a way where you would never fucking see it coming, even though they're fucking hitting you in the face with it. It's just phenomenal movie. I bounce between that and District 9 for like two of the ones I just adore.
I think my favorite might be Silence of the Lambs.
Oh fuck yeah, nice choice.
It's awesome. I watched it as a kid and I was going, yeah, eat his face.
You know, he's only got like 15 or 20 minutes of screen time or something
somewhere
crazy
in between there. Yeah,
something super short. I kind of have an obsession with screen time after my whole, like I've mentioned this before, but Riri, I get messaged all the time saying you can't talk about her because it wasn't her fucking film. And like, I think that's horseshit because I find it super fascinating by some of the iconic performances that they're not, you weren't even on screen that long, yet they managed to eat up the fucking scenery.
It's just maximum efficiency.
Yes,
it's just using the character for as long as they need to be and then knowing when to stop. That's actual art.
Mm-hmm. I really love short but well acted performances. Just like they were there for like one scene, but they fucking nailed it. Even Wolverine's in X-Men First Class when they go and see him at the bar and he tells him to fuck off or whatever.
Fantastic.
He says. Like, yeah, it's so great because so much of his character is captured in that moment.
I used to think when I cared about the Oscars that the best supporting actor category was always more interesting than the big one. And it was, remember that there was like a trifecta of just fucking psychopath characters and their actors won like 3 years straight. It was like in the 2000s. It was like Joker and then Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men.
He might be my favorite villain of all time.
Yeah, and then Inglourious Bastards.
Anton.
I forget his
Christopher
name.
Waltz.
Yeah, Christopher Waltz won for Inglourious Bastards. That was like 3 years straight of just fucking iconic screen villains.
Yeah, man. There's they had it down then. Platoon, you're not escaping this. What's yours?
Yeah, what's your favorite?
I do not have a favorite. Honestly, I can't answer that question because
I like them all equally.
I like all of them equally. Yeah, I like my children. No,
you have utmost respect for it, at least.
Again, I can't sort of rank them linearly because it so much will depend on what I'm in the mood for at the time. But like it can be like veer between like Empire Strikes Back, Two Towers, fucking 2001: A Space Odyssey, Godfather Part 2 or Part 1. To be fair, Silence of the Lambs is a really good shout. Shawshank Redemption, very good film. Attack of the Clones, masterpiece. You know, the list goes on.
And RoboCop. Actually, you know what? RoboCop isn't a bad one.
I love that movie.
Yeah, that's a solid pick for favorite movie of all time.
I've always thought it was weird how when he crashes into the vat, one of them just becomes a monster.
That's amazing.
It's just,
and he's like, he walks up to one of his friends and he's like, "Help me!" And his friend's just like, "Get off me, man!"
And then he just gets splattered by the truck.
God damn! I could talk about good movies.
Doctor Strangelove. I'll throw that in there as well. That's a good one.
Jaws and Jurassic Park.
Yo, fuck yes.
Oh, hell yeah.
Holy hell. Those are two where I just like when I talk about perfect films, like God tier.
Yeah.
I always like Toy Story. I always go back to that.
That is a movie to reference when people say it's stupid. It's for kids. Who cares? Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, fuck off.
Toy Story wasn't stupid. All right. I understood everything was going on. I was on point. It's like I hate it so much. And Toy Story is fantastic. Yeah. I haven't seen it in years, actually. That's a cool rewatch.
Dave is right. For a $2 super chat, he got his fucking money's worth on that one.
This guy, yeah, he got it, man. Sometimes you just
it's all about the question.
Yeah. Mr. Blade says Julia Louis-Dreyfus is just Tulsi Gabbard cosplay in Thunderbolts.
I was gonna say this whole Elaine phenomenon is weird because we actually had a decent Nick Fury replacement in Secret Invasion. If you remember, what's her name?
Olivia Colman's character.
Yeah, she's fantastic. She was the best part of Secret Invasion because while you have Fury being a fucking moron, replacement Fury was actually good. I'm like, if you're gonna do it, she's the one. Instead, we have Elaine. Like, I would rather Olivia, to be fair. So. Who knows? It just highlights they don't know what they have when they have it. John Walker to this lady I just referenced. There's a few people that had potential, and they give the focus to Yelena and like whoever who Captain.
She's another really good actor who's ended up in a Disney Plus show where no one will ever watch her, is Olivia Colman. I mean, she's
nobody
for
cares.
someone who started out in this really obscure sort of bit part role in a bunch of comedies, actually is a pretty good, well-rounded actor, quite a lot of depth, was a compelling character in Secret Invasion up until it got just irredeemably stupid.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess they would have considered it a hat on a hat to have two characters like that. But now we've got no characters like that because she's not coming back and fucking Selena Meyer is awful.
They just don't know what they're doing.
No, it is a shame. And because you kind of left with, who are the compelling villain characters who are left over? Are there any? Because they've burned through so many. I remember thinking of Gore the God Butcher was a really good example of that. Such a potentially amazing character with a really good actor wasted in that awful, awful movie. He
looks so cool as Gore, but it's one of the best examples of like you immediately remember the writing, and it's just immediately like, oh, the fact that a character like that could become a joke through writing is a shame. And Thor: Love and Thunder, that movie, man, it did so much fucking damage. We could have had Gore potentially ongoing if they did something with it. It's ruined Thor. It's like irredeemable at this point. This character, I don't even think of Thor as a part of the MCU at this point because Chris Hemsworth,
it's got to be one of the fastest movies where I've went, oh, this is going to be a piece of shit.
Yeah. Mulan would probably be the record for me of like, I was like pissed off within like 30 seconds, but the Mulan remake. But I remember Thor: Love and Thunder. Cynic, same with you. Are you fucking shitting me? The sword's just there.
Oh,
the ground.
Instantly. Yeah, in the first fucking minute.
And you something when you were talking about Thunderbolts tonight, you mentioned something about that where they had the key to something in the same room or something stupid like that. And I was gonna mention they're doing the same shit since Thor: Love and Thunder, like having the fucking god-killing sword right next to the god for no reason.
It's very lazy. Yeah,
but that's even worse because the god killed him. The god killed the guy with the god-killing sword, but then he can't kill Christian Bale. So it's even worse because he can kill a guy, now he can't.
I just don't know what they were thinking, man. Everything about that movie was just a failure.
What about Heimdall's son? His shitty CGI son.
Oh, Axel? Axel, isn't that his name or something?
CW fucking CGI.
Wasn't that his name? Like he was named off
a Norse name, Axel.
No, it was a reference to a band or something. I can't remember. Fuck Platoon. You
Guns and Roses.
There it is.
Axl Rose.
Yeah. So it's a little kid who probably wouldn't even listen to that that type of music with the name Axel. I just don't even know. It's Tyga just trying to inject himself into it, and like it's one of those movies where you can see someone's ego just completely ruin it.
I don't know what this is referencing for whatever reason. Toivo Corhonen says, "Do you
live action remake?
Oh, a live action remake. Do you think Disney will make a live action remake of Tarzan? And if yes, how butchered will the story be?"
We got George. It's the one. We don't need one.
It's the one movie that won't be race swapped.
So they're not having a black dude jumping around in the trees.
Getting, unless he's Asian, that'd be kind of funny.
Maybe
super Asian.
They would do that, but they won't have a black dude. 100%. Black Tarzan would just break the internet. It'd be good for YouTubers though.
Is this fucking Dark Hour? it is, dude. This is Dark Hour.
Ascora?
Yeah. I have no idea what he's saying. But can you plug it into ChatGPT for translation, please?
Actually, I was trying to just work it out, but I got stuck on like Thunderbolts is a recipe for fucking listening to banjos.
Bathroom, toilet.
Yeah.
No habla
Baño.
We don't speak Spanish. Why are we trying to decide?
Why are we doing this, Dark Hour?
Yes.
It might as well be hieroglyphs.
Yeah, for me.
I know it's you. I see that little fucking green man, but with the Spanish mustache.
I see that little green man. That's a horrible, funny explanation. Description.
See the little green man. Well, Thrill House says, call her George the way that Bush is a W.
Ooh.
All right. And more Dark Hour. Juan Walker.
The fuck is this?
These $2 Dark Hour trolls.
That sounds more
Juan-
Japanese than Spanish. No hizo nada malo. Malo is like evil, right? So John Walker is not a villain.
Not a
I
bad
don't know.
guy. Yeah, not a bad guy.
But I'm sure guy in Spanish is like hombre or something. He's not a bad hombre is John Walker. Juan Walker even.
Hora Oscura. Filthy Casual says Demon Slayer does the dream sequence a million times better than this movie. MC is reunited with his dead family in the dream, but has to accept they're dead and kill himself over and over to escape.
That sounds cheerful.
Oh, yeah, he does it on top of a train, but it's sort of like it's anime, so the logic is fucking weird. But like he goes sleep, he sleeps in like 2 seconds, he slits his throat and comes back. He doesn't fall over. He somehow maintained his balance. But it's anime logic, so you just gotta ignore it.
WizNilly P says unblock your cameras, studs.
I haven't had a haircut. I've got a really curly hair. It's not quite an afro, but it's not quite a Jufro. It's kind of. It's not.
It's
It's
the
more
awkward
curvy.
in between stage.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. It's not the curly locks in Lord of the Rings. It's more curly than that, but it's not super curly where it's an afro.
You know, got your hot hair.
It's a weird.
I'm on vacation for one more day, and I didn't bring a camera, but I did bring a microphone But I'm doing it out of a super echoey room, so I apologize.
I actually couldn't tell.
Oh, I saw chat say something like I must be streaming from the void, so I just assumed that it was really echoey.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad.
Oh, okay. Well, chat picked up on it, and they're who really matter because they're the audience. So, Common People says, "Hey Platoon, remember way back 2 weeks ago when I asked Cynic, hey Cynic, have you made an AI Gimli style girlfriend yet? Annoying internet weirdo times. Annoying internet weirdo times."
Have you?
I remember. No, I haven't.
Oh, you should get on that.
Yeah, maybe I should. Maybe I will.
Or you put a cutout of Studio Ghibli on your girlfriend's face.
Can't I
now
just
you're perfect.
Can't I just take a picture of like one I already have and it just like recreates it in that style?
I think you could actually, yeah.
Maybe I'll do that for the shits and giggles of it all. Filthy Casual says, in My Hero Academia, a character similar to Ghost chooses to be solid to take a bullet for a little girl, costing him his powers. Ghost just fistfights.
Oh yeah, that's Lemillion. There's a guy with a gun that can take away powers, and there's a girl in the way, so he has to jump in the way. It's pretty good, and he keeps fighting onwards afterwards.
It was like the opposite of Doctor Strange, when Doctor Strange says, "Oh no, there's a villain who's after like power, so I'm going to sacrifice the child to stop her."
It's the opposite. One's very heroic, one is fucking evil.
So stupid. That's another movie where you know it's going to be shit within the first like few minutes.
Yep.
What the hell? Like, did I what? Like, just sitting here in the multiverse with like Spanish Doctor Strange? Yeah, God.
What happened to his third eye?
But they show him
into
screaming.
the multiverse with Charlize Theron, so it's probably it's somewhere.
It's more complicated than that.
Time
They
ago.
show him like screaming, like reacting like it's the worst thing that ever happened to him, and then they immediately
Maybe
cut
it's just
to him
whatever.
just having it, and he's just cool.
Mhm.
And
Is he going to show
is
up?
it traumatic or is it?
Sorry, I was going to say, is he going to show up in Doomsday with 3 eyes and no one's going to say anything?
He kind of has to. Or you wonder if even they remember at this point, though, because it's been ages since we've last seen him.
If they never reference the eye ever again, like what are you going to do about it? Like it's just the way they've been with everything.
David Smart says, "What a sad state of affairs wherein everything is trash. I'm done with this genre. I'm glad I didn't pay to see any of these trash films." Well, I didn't think Thunderbolts was trash. I thought it was like down the middle. But with Thunderbolts, I feel like if this came out in phase 1 or 2 or 3, we'd give it more of a pass. But a lot of apathy's kind of set in, so
If it didn't have the
mediocrity
continuity,
won't pass for a lot of people.
like you're saying, if it didn't have the continuity, it would be better if it was just on its own. But
You
for
can't
it to
have
be
the film.
continuation-
You can't have the film without in like stage 1 because it requires all these extra characters from these other shows. So it's strange.
Yeah, it's weird. I think
It's
Thunderbolts has some rewatchability. I was thinking about that over the weekend too. Like, would I watch this movie again? I think I would. Again, Florence Pugh is just, she's very watchable.
That's the real reason.
But again, like you said, it comes down to just the performances and the potential that you see for it in your head.
Yeah.
So that's all this movie seems to have to offer from everything I've heard about it.
Yeah, I forgot to mention too, the guy who plays Sentry is fucking phenomenal. Like, I really liked what he did with that character.
Lewis Pullman.
Yeah, Bill Pullman's son, the dude from Independence Day, the president.
You know what's surprising? How many people's sons are actually decent actors?
Kurt Russell, John Walker,
Jack Quaid.
Wyatt Russell. Like, I didn't even realize he was Kurt Russell's son. No wonder he's so cool. And Jack Quaid's another one. I like him. He's like one of the. You know what? Arnie's son is actually good. I watched him.
Yeah.
White Lotus.
Jack Nicholson's son has got the smile. He's still got the same look as his dad.
Our good friend True Pop Culture 7 says, "Advertising friendly mental illness, the movie."
Pretty much, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah. M8566. How tall is Platoon? I need to know if EPAP is still a viable threat on the basketball court.
I am 9 foot tall. No, I am 6 foot tall. Basically, exactly 6 foot. Which I think makes me the second shortest person on that panel.
Yeah,
'cause they're
EPAP
quite
is
tall.
full of giants, man. Like, Fringy's like 6'5" or something.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Fringy's 6'5" and Mahler's like 6'4", so just strangely enough, super tall.
Damn. Ministry of Dinosaurs. Why does the sonic shield stop Ghost's quantum power? Also, why not combine Ghost with Walker's shield to stop the vibrations so that the team works like a team and doesn't Echo just solo Void?
I don't know if it stops her quantum power as much as it just gives her a headache and she decides she can't be doing with that anymore. So it's just kind of like, it's a bullshit excuse. And then the film is never sure what John Walker's shield is made of because it probably shouldn't be vibranium, but the film treats it as though it is.
Yeah.
So if it is though, then yes, it should stop those vibrations and you could combine them in interesting ways, but they aren't going to do that. So fuck it.
Visitor number 23. Plutz, please use the Seinfeld bass throughout your Thunderbolts video essay.
See, I've never seen Seinfeld, but I know Veep back to back, so I know all of the lines to throw in. It's like, Bob takes off and I could just cut to Selena Meyer saying, "It's like if Hitler could fly." So it's great.
Raging Man at Legs says, to counter Brooks on Florence Pugh, she at least played great characters in Oppenheimer and Puss in Boots 2, where she played Goldilocks.
I covered my ass with that. It was the ones I've seen her in. I haven't seen her in Oppenheimer. I assume she's better than what I've seen, but for Midsummer and Black Widow, it's pretty frustrating.
She's great. She's fully nude in Oppenheimer. It's great.
That's the only bit you remember.
Unless you watch the Indian version, right, when they re-added clothes.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. They CGI'd her.
Did they?
Yeah.
So the scene is just two fully clothed people sitting on each other.
I think she's in some sort of weird, like all black bodysuit thing. I can't. I'm sure I've seen it, and I remember thinking it looked very strange. But they did denudify her.
Taker610 says, "Is Thunderbolts the direct sequel to the Bill Murray and Richard Dreyfuss movie What About Bob?" I watched What About Bob again recently, and man, does that movie not hold up. I thought it was really funny when I was a kid, and now he's just fucking annoying. I agree with Richard Dreyfuss's character. I'd get rid of Bob. Have any of you seen that movie?
No.
Oh, never heard of it.
Yeah,
I
don't.
don't think so.
All right, don't.
It would be funny. That's the ending. What are we going to do about Bob? Well, we'll kill him.
Just kill him.
Eat him.
Yeah, it's Bill Murray as this hyper obnoxious OCD character. And it was really funny when I was like 5. And now when I'm 38, I'm like, oh, God, this guy fucking sucks. Get rid of him.
No, the super chat answers my question there.
Big T for 1999. Thank you. They don't mention the Accords anymore because Daredevil mentioned in She-Hulk that the Accords were repealed. So I guess Ross regrets the Accords, but that sounds like headcanon to me. So take that as you will.
The MCU regrets the Accords. They hate
Yes.
Civil War and wish it
Yes,
never
they do.
existed.
Yeah.
Because it grounds them and has to hold them accountable for shit. But we need to pretend that never happened so they can have whatever the fuck they want.
Mhm.
I hate it. But that's my favorite superhero movie. Like, definitely my favorite MCU movie and one of my favorite superhero movies. And I just think that's the approach that we should be taking. It's a movie that makes the entire MCU better just by existing, but they don't seem to think the same way. It's so frustrating.
Mhm. And yes, Loke, I am knocking on 40. Yep, unfortunately. Mega Spidey Man says, to all, favorite lightsaber duel in the original trilogy, and why is that? Has Reaper finished Penguin?
I got to episode 6, got distracted, and now I can't remember it. So I'll have to watch it again.
Rewatch the whole thing.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
give it an actual chance. Maybe.
My
But I'm a
favorite,
petty asshole.
my favorite lightsaber duel in the original trilogy is the very first one in the first movie because it sucks.
Well, yeah, because that's Alec Guinness is too old to do anything, and the person in David Prowse in the Vader costume couldn't actually see out of that mask, so the choreography is a bit
It's awful.
janky in that first one.
A bit janky.
Talking
You
about
are
glorious.
Yeah, a
so-
little bit janky, but it
Charitable.
works for this story better than loads of the flashy prequel stuff that take 4 hours to conclude, do they? Because like it doesn't need to be much better than that. Someone did that fan edit version where they turned it into a longer fight, which is more in the prequel style. And like it's impressive on a technical level. I just think it loses what the fight is about when they start dragging it out and having all these complex force moves and people chucking stuff around and all the fucking crazy flips.
We didn't
and
need all
turns.
that in A New Hope.
No,
We
no,
didn't- I like building up to that, but I like the idea of they're both masters. They're not going to be doing all that stuff. They know they can counter each other out, and it's just back to the basics for that.
Yeah.
So even as a kid, I kind of got it. You're not like, it's not incredible, but I get what you're going for here. You can't just change everything into the prequels and make everything, super action oriented and over the top.
But they'd got the hang of it by the time of Empire, and so like my answer to that question does just fluctuate on a case by day by day basis almost, because I am either inclined to say it's Luke versus Vader in Empire or it's Luke versus Vader in Return of the Jedi. I think the second one is better in terms of plot because there's so much symbolism happening in that moment, and then obviously it culminates with Luke not becoming his father, which is probably the most important fight scene in the entire franchise until the sequels come and make it all pointless. But I do also like Luke Vader in Empire because it just does such a brilliant job of making Vader this absolutely unstoppable force.
I think that's the answer. Vader and Luke versus Vader in Empire. Even if you don't like Return of the Jedi, you need the character work to really appreciate. And even with that wide shot, it's like one of my favorite wide shots in of all time. But you really need the character. The fight in Empire, you can kind of just watch and appreciate just for the structure of the fight and the choreography. Same with so I think that and the Darth Maul fight, like they work with context and without. So I think that makes them the best.
I'd say Ahsoka and Anakin because it shows how shit she is when compared to Hayden Christensen, because he is so fast and she is so slow. And you could just see how much effort he put in and how little Rosario Dawson did.
He retained everything he learned from his prequel training. And she's like an old, like middle-aged woman at this point where it's just, I don't know. Yeah, that was pretty embarrassing.
Or what's that really, the fucking, she gets stabbed in Ahsoka. What's her name? Sabine. That really terrible fight.
Oh god, yeah, with what's her name? Shin
Hati.
Holy walked it off.
I made a video on that fight scene and I almost forgot what you're talking about for a second. Yeah, Sabine is one of the worst characters to ever exist.
Oh, I can't wait for season 2 of that show. It means I have to finish reviewing season 1.
Oh my god. She slept off a lightsaber. She just fucked everything completely. It's
They make it even worse because then Ahsoka goes to leave on her mission and they even have Sabine say, "I'm fine." And she is. That's the problem. You shouldn't be.
Fine. They didn't explain, and I'm
Reva-
waiting for an explanation of anything. Like Reva did it better somehow. At least she looked like
She got
hurt.
stabbed twice. She got stabbed as a kid and then stabbed
Yeah.
as an adult, and she's
just
fine.
Yeah,
You
like,
put a
Brandon
bandana on
Cooper.
it.
Reva
put a
versus
bandana
Vader
on
is
it
one
and
of the
went to
most
fucking-
embarrassing fights. I mean, it's the second most embarrassing fight in that show after Vader versus Obi-Wan in that show, because that's appalling. But Reva versus Darth Vader is terrible because it's when Darth Vader doesn't use his lightsaber and he just does these dance moves around her, and they
She's
give the
been-
camera to a guy with Parkinson's to make it seem like it's more intense than it is.
She's rolling around on the floor like a fucking idiot. Like, what is she doing, man? Like, doing capoeira. Like, I don't know what they were thinking with that. In terms of choreography, that might be the worst one. Because at least Obi-Wan versus Vader, as stupid as it is, there's some moments of spectacle that some people could appreciate. I don't think anyone at any age could look at Vader versus Reva and get excited. Like, it looked like a mistake. It looked like them, like, doing an impression of what they're going to do, not doing an actual fight scene. It's too close to parody.
I just love it where she cut a woman's hand off for no reason, and then they're like, "Oh, Reva, you're so redeemed." It's like, no, she isn't. She's a fucking bitch.
You can't do
terrible.
that. You're not part of the
Terrible
Empire.
She
for
goes to
absolutely
murder
no reason.
children in a bid to get back at a guy who murdered children. She's
Yeah.
just evil.
And they never show that lady's reaction. Literally, they have her scream, and then the scene just continues. She's not on the ground, writhing in pain. She's just nothing. No one acknowledges it.
The
It's so
other
stupid.
Inquisitors have to tell her to chill because she's that psycho.
Yeah.
Oh,
Big T says Kevin Feige apparently had an emergency meeting about getting Marvel back on track, whatever that means at this point.
that's a
It's a
secret
bit late.
Wars. It's just a big reboot.
Yeah, that's the back on track, I would imagine. The reboot that is absolutely happening with Secret
You
Wars.
can't do that unless you acknowledge what got it off track in the first place.
Mhm.
And talk about it. You can't just, like, I know they did it with the blip in the universe, but they're trying to do it in real life. Just pretend like the last 5 years didn't happen. Like, it's crazy.
Well, I mean, with Thunderbolts, but they cherry picked for what was canon, what wasn't, and it's happening in real time right now. Toivo Corhonen says, "Remember that there is a multiverse where all the Avengers are played by Pedro Pascal."
The audience, the cameraman, the director. It's all Pedro.
Fresh RC says there's a phenomenon happening with MCU fans in which they'll go back and say that this project is better than the other, even though it's all bad. Oh my! No.
No, it's only all bad for the last 6 years, which is when most of it came out. But otherwise, until that point, it's way better.
Yeah,
wouldn't
we
even
have
say
hit
that.
the point where. Sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say there's still a couple projects since Endgame came out that were good. I still like Spider-Man: No Way Home. I
Yeah,
think that's a good one. I guess that
Guardians was
But
okay.
still.
Pretty much Guardians and No Way Home are the ones that.
Yeah,
people like.
Guardians 3 was all right. Yeah.
Deadpool and Wolverine doesn't even really count. Like,
Yeah, it's a watchable movie for sure. It's like entertaining, but not good at all.
entertainment side quest, but has nothing to do with the actual narrative of the MCU, right?
Yeah.
Because I skipped that. I was just had no interest in seeing, like, Logan just nailed it for me. I don't need any more Hugh Jackman Wolverine.
Hmm.
See, like Marvel has joined Star Wars and Star Trek, where you get this certain thing where there's more shit content than good. So, like, you kind of forget what good Marvel is because the shit outranks the good stuff.
Yeah, it's true. Because I truly think there's probably like maybe 5 great MCU movies, and then several good ones, and then the rest have turned into slop. But the 5 that are great elevate all the other ones. That's why I remember movies like Iron Man, Avengers, Guardians, Civil War. They just have an effect where they just, just being connected to them makes the other ones more palatable. But they've lost that completely. It's just there's no faith for any of these in-between movies now. It's only the big hitters that are going to make money.
Well, you're being eroded by a sea of shit. The tide comes in and just takes a little piece off the rock. More
Every single
shit
time.
comes in. It just keeps repeating.
Yeah, because there was never a point where they were all bangers. Every single one was good. That never existed. Like people, but they were good enough. They were never like trash. You know, they were always enjoyable and left you wanting more, or at least see what they're gonna do with these characters. But now they're abysmal. They're pathetic. They're insulting. Everything about it is falling apart. So what can they really do? Yeah, like Goodwin said in the chat, the dilution of the brand over the last few years needs to be studied.
Blackgate says a muted on will superplex a gorilla sword next to the pyramids. Confirmed. It's going to happen.
The thing is, like, the more successfully it targets that bizarre fandom, like, the more my comment section's going to resemble fucking Auschwitz. It'll be horrible.
I like how they're your enemies, the Monsterverse.
They suck.
Of all the people, all the critics, it's the people who you argue the most with are the people who like Godzilla versus Kong.
They're the only ones who've got such sad and pointless lives that they've bothered to brigade my comment section. So of course I hate them.
I have a beef with. That is pretty funny.
You'd think they would have like no energy, but it seems to be like a really fanatical fan base.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre.
Oh, this next one's for you, Reaper. Intent Matters says, "Hey, Reaper, did you get caught up with The Handmaid's Tale? Even though I quite like the show overall, Elizabeth Moss got so fat in the last season. It's distracting."
Well, she's got the same situation of Bella Ramsey, where the camera gets about an inch away from her face, and I'm on. Because I house sit for my brother sometimes. That's the time I watch it, because I'm kind of rewatching his Birds Amazon Prime. Because he went, don't mess with the Amazon Prime, which is why I'm watching it. So I have to rewatch her stuff. And she keeps putting on the pounds. I hate the show. I despise the show. It's terrible. It makes no sense. But yeah, she is getting fatter. I'm seeing it coming. Oh, it's so slow. She'll walk into a room and go, straws are sometimes good. I mean, a piggy built a house out of one. And he went, do you not get the moral of the story? That house got blown down, you stupid bitch. That is the writing level we're dealing with.
Christ.
A house of straws is good when the fucking story is the opposite.
Garth Knight sent in a few super chats here. Platoon does not like Korean movies, I hear.
I like the ones I've seen. I just haven't seen very many of them. There is one called, I think it's just called The Handmaiden, which is, it's like a weird sort of lesbian crime thing. It's kind of entertaining. I didn't mind that one.
He sent in a bunch, so I'll read his in succession here. Garth Knight again says, Goodfellas is the best mob movie. I've never cared to watch Godfather either.
I haven't seen that either.
You haven't seen that?
Yeah.
It's
very
like,
different.
I know I've seen them. I know I've seen them like with my dad as a kid. Like I've seen them all probably more than once, but I haven't watched them like properly as a teen or adult.
It's an excellent movie. You've got to watch it.
I'm probably gonna do like a double feature of the like. There's a third. Oh fuck! You might get mad at this one too. Oh, Godfather, Goodfellas, and Pulp Fiction. I gotta watch them all back to back.
You haven't seen Pulp Fiction?
I know. I seriously, like, my friend said that to me like 20 years ago and sat me down, but somehow we never got around to watching it.
Wow.
It's one of the ones where I just know I have to fucking watch those three.
You do. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then I'll give you like a second tier list. Like you'll have to watch Casino, you know.
Oh, yeah. I think that's what I mean. I know my dad watched all of them with me when I was a kid, just passively, but to take them in properly again is what I need to do.
Yeah, Carlito's Way, Donnie Brasco.
I think Carlito's Way, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Garth Knight says, I love Bagface, but if he loves The Last Jedi, I don't know what to say outside of him being Canadian.
What? Okay, I despise The Last Jedi, and I'm Canadian. It's just like it's the reason my name's Jedi Brooks. It like changed my whole view on storytelling. I didn't realize I cared this much until I watched that movie. So everyone's gonna have their moment, right? But to say you like it, I can assume he's gonna talk about the technical aspects. He's not talking about the story. Mm-hmm. But with Snow White, I don't Physically, I don't understand it. It doesn't make any
Because
sense.
even the technical aspects of that movie, it looks like shit.
There's nothing to defend. It looks like it's one of the ugliest, one of the most boring, one of the most insulting movies ever. It's trash of the highest degree.
Garth Knight again says John Walker is Kurt Russell's son. If he can do wrong, I don't want to be right.
Yeah, that's cool. He's another one, man. So we got Wyatt Russell, Patrick Schwarzenegger. Ice Cube's son's a little overrated. He's like too average to be shoved in everything. But there's a few other ones that are pretty good.
Well, at least he's not Jaden Smith.
Oh, jeez. What a weirdo Will was blessed with, man. That's strange, creepy spawn. And his first son seems so much cooler than him. The one that doesn't want to be famous. He seems more like Will. He seems more like we captured what we like about Will in the public. And he's normal. But then he's got this weird goblin son with Jada. That's just, I don't know. It's a shame. It's such a weirdo, man. I just feel bad for him.
If your best friend was fucking your mother, I think you wouldn't have a good childhood.
No.
Yeah, he's
God
he's
damn.
up, man. Like their dynamic must have really messed it up to get to the point where, yeah, he's fucking just off-putting, man. Everything about him.
Garth Knight again says, now, is Dark Hour being held captive in a Cabo motel at the hands of some ladies of the night? Let's not disregard this. I am not. It is a possibility.
It would be funny if those super chats were cries for help.
Yeah, look, too lazy to run it through translation.
No, he's trying to help. We're too lazy to translate his shit.
Call the police.
Last one from Garth. Platoon, is there a gay following of Star Trek that the mainstream is unaware of?
No. I think the mainstream is fully well aware of the Star Trek fandom. But no, to answer the question seriously, I have no idea. Maybe, probably, there is for everything else.
Well, you're gay, so you must know all the gay.
This is true. I do. We have a WhatsApp group.
You and 17 million people.
Hemorrhoid Hurts says, can we just see more boobs for fuck's sake? Jeez.
I don't even know what he's talking about, but yeah, that's a good plan.
Probably Florence Pugh.
Makes everything better.
It just does.
It really does. Paul Connolly, hail BSUP. Supposedly the abandoned plot for Jurassic Park 4 was dinosaur-human hybrids. At this stage, I think they should just do it. What have they got to lose? And they probably will.
Yeah, they probably will. It'll be Jurassic World 5 instead of 4.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Why? Why would you do that?
Tay says, hey guys, what do y'all think of Trump's tariffs on foreign films? I think it's all fucked anyway, but this will accelerate Hollywood's demise further.
It was quite funny because I've sort of needled a little bit on Twitter since he announced that, but it is quite funny to watch people say, oh no, I'm all for sticking it to Hollywood. This is a good idea, when the explicit purpose of the tariff is to protect Hollywood. You can't, these two things do not go hand in hand. You don't have protectionist tariffs and as a means of sticking it to the thing you're trying to protect. That isn't how this works. It will do massive damage to Hollywood because it's insane, but it won't do damage in the way that people seem to think that it will. It's like people just need to basically read like even fundamental fucking first grade economics lessons on what tariffs actually do to an industry. Hollywood's been really, really good for a very long time because it was able to compete with the international market and use international talent. It's now going badly wrong because it was sustained by cheap shit money. And the answer to that kind of government intervention is not more government intervention to protect it from the consequences of its own bad decisions, because that will destroy Hollywood in the long run. It's like bizarre that someone like Trump should say, well, Hollywood spent the last 5 years making its films propaganda attacks on me, so why don't I shield them from the consequences of that decision? Don't do it. Just let it fail, and something else will replace it.
Didn't Ben Affleck give an interview where he said the cost in Hollywood is so high, it's cheaper. Rather than move to the next lot, it's cheaper to take everyone to Budapest in Hungary and film there.
Jesus. It is. But like, it's it already happens within the United States, right? So like California has very high taxes and strong union laws. So it loses jobs to the state of Georgia because Georgia subsidizes movie production. I don't think anyone would think it's a good idea for California to erect tariffs against Georgia in a bid to bring movie production back. The same thing just applies internationally. That's not, if you want to actually revive Hollywood in terms of like the jobs available to people, just look at what current tax treatments are the most favorable to that industry and replicate them. That's very, very simple to do. But that might also mean tackling some of those trade unions that insist that you have to have a minimum of 5 shit writers on every project, regardless of quality, because that's also making things more expensive.
We have one more super chat, but I did want to answer this question from Strider Hell's Rider. Cynic, the problem is for similarly bad movies rated 5 or so, you put down into the fucking ground, but this, which is a 5, you're concentrating on the positive. Why? I don't give ratings usually, ever, first of all.
Angry with you.
Yeah, I don't give ratings. So what I might deem a 5, you wouldn't know, because I just don't rate anything. Usually if I'm running into the ground, that's like a 2 if I were to give a score. And also, I walked away entertained by the movie, acknowledging the fact that it had a lot of objective problems. So a 5 is just like right in the middle. Like, it was fine.
You can acknowledge a movie is a 5 and explain why you enjoyed it, and have a movie that you thought was shit, but it also got things to reach it up to a 5. It's not like a binary thing. Like, you can,
right. yeah.
And I don't think you disputed any of the points that we had. You just said that you liked the performances and came away entertained. But
yeah, and I even threw in some of my own objective recognition of like the problems in the film. There are a bunch. Yeah,
saying all our points are useless because you liked it would be what he's describing there, like an inconsistency. But like, no, that's not what you did.
Yeah, and I was just entertained by it, so I can't lie about it. I was entertained, god damn it. Last super chat here was from Wonder Girl 108. Do any of you guys have favorite guilty pleasure movies? Yeah, Thunderbolts.
That kind of fits right into what we're saying. And that's a perfect segue of, you can have a movie that's fucking trash, but you have so much fun. Madam Web. That's how we met.
Oh God, yeah.
Madam Web was the first conversation we ever had. Yeah. And it's because that movie was so shit that we all got along right away. But we all agree that movie's like a 2. So numbers is not the most important thing. Like,
even like The Dark Knight Rises, which is a bad film, is still kind of enjoyable in how bad it is. There's a bunch of films like that, and there's some good stuff in it as well. It's just sort of dragged down by the rest of it. Return of the Jedi, not a good movie, but has some really strong scenes. I'd probably call that a slightly guilty pleasure movie. Most of the Star Wars prequels are all guilty pleasure movies, actually.
And I think I mentioned this last week. Friday the 13th, Part 8. Jason Takes Manhattan. Fucking love that movie.
The fucking black dude tries to box him on the roof.
Man.
I couldn't believe that scene. It's like, oh my goodness.
Shout out in chat for the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which I actually watched, I think 2 weeks ago. It was on TV. Movie so bad it ended Sean Connery's career, but there's some nice stuff in it.
You can say that about the entire Friday the 13th franchise. It's just a guilty pleasure movie. It's just Jason, Jack, and teenagers, and figuring out where we can have them do it next, in Manhattan, in space, wherever, you know.
Jason Goes to Space. I forgot about that one.
That is a movie that I want to like watch and like with a group of people like record. If we do ever do anything like that, that's gonna be.
Maybe that should be this year's Halloween one. That could be this year's Halloween breakdown. Is Jason X or whatever it is.
Jason X has got some potential for sure. It's got one of the coolest kills ever. Yeah, you remember which one?
Yeah, the liquid nitrogen.
Everyone remembers that one for some reason.
It's such a good
kill. Legacy is a cool kill. It's crazy.
It starts off. That's how it starts the movie, and then the rest of it is shit.
Absolute trash.
I do love the sleeping bag. The girl in the sleeping bag against the tree gag. That one's fantastic.
Oh yeah. Get some funny screams in those Jason movies.
Yeah.
But what's the word? You're a fan. Does he teleport, or is it just bad directing? Like, how do they justify that throughout the movies?
Oh, I think they turn it into a running gag that he teleports once you get to Jason X.
There's no other explanation for it at this point. He's Nightcrawler. Like, it's just...
he walks, but somehow keeps pace with a woman who's sprinting.
There's even one where like the guy's he's walking towards him like 20 feet away. The guy climbs a ladder, gets to like to the top of the ladder, and suddenly Jason's on the ladder, like fully on him. He would have had to
fucking awesome.
sprint. He literally would have to sprint and jump 10 feet in the air and like pull himself up the fucking ladder. It's so stupid.
Would it be good if you had a Jason movie where you find out how he kept getting ahead? So he runs, jumps on a trampoline, gets on top.
You know, to do parkour. Like I want to see those in between parkour scenes when he's just.
That would actually be quite funny. That would actually be.
That's why I'm describing that one specifically, because he physically would have had to sprint, like just bolt. Like it didn't make any sense. Oh man, but I don't know. Jason's a funny character.
They did that in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where the guy with the chainsaw is waiting in the car, and it's like, how do you hide the sound of a chainsaw?
Yeah,
you can't.
Having him jump scare people was kind of silly in that movie.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. And when he was in the car, it wasn't him starting the chainsaw that startled them, right? Because that would at least make some sort of sense.
He stabs it through the chair, like you have to.
Oh
rev
yeah,
it.
yeah.
You have to rev it, and
so
it just
ridiculous.
instantly comes on and stabs her.
Yeah, he's got a silencer on his freaking chainsaw.
Like she has plenty. If it was a normal chainsaw, he'd go 1 second and he'd keep like pulling the string.
Only chainsaw with a start button.
Jessica Biel was hot as fuck in that movie.
Dude,
so 10 out of 10.
Holy shit.
Yeah, all-timer.
That's all I have to say. All-time wardrobe department W right there.
Oh yeah, they just didn't give a fuck. They had the camera up her ass. Like half
the whole movie.
They didn't give a shit back then.
She wore that tied-off shirt the entire time.
Yeah, she was pretty fit.
Yep.
I liked her, man. Whatever happened to her?
She got married and had kids.
That'll do it.
God bless you. Garth Knight sent in one more super chat. Revenge of the Sith is a dog water movie. Anakin's ridiculous turn and Vader's no is bad.
Yeah, I couldn't. That really ruined the moment, man. What were they thinking with that?
Well, almost every line of dialogue ruins that film. It's really special. Anakin, Chancellor Palpatine is evil.
They
From
actually
my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
Well, then you are lost.
Just shut up and swing your swords, man. That's what I'm here for. Stop talking. All of their dialogue. Well, Obi-Wan kind of saves it at the end with "You Are the Chosen One" speech. Like he kind of nails that. Everything else is trash. For them.
I just love. Don't do it, Anakin. I have the high ground.
You underestimate my power.
God, the gritted teeth line delivery is so good.
He's trying so hard, man. Liar!
He could just get off and walk to the side.
He's the stupidest move ever. That fucking jump. But I was
The
gonna say,
I hate yous are actually like some of the only convincing delivery in the movie, but I think that's because George Lucas was standing behind the camera at the time.
I think it's funny. I kind of agree. I think he saved that. That could have been way more cringe, but he kind of saved it with delivery. But that doesn't work when you have the helmet on. It's like, no, there's no way to save that.
Ridiculous.
And it comes right after the scene of him having the first breath, which was actually well done. They should have cut it right there. Like, don't even show him reacting. We know what happened. Just end the damn film.
How did Palpatine explain the Senate assassination where he's just flinging seats at Yoda?
Well, you see, then I started blasting. Like, what's he gonna fucking do? Yeah, you're right. That's such a strange. Yeah, I need that scene.
Someone tried to assassinate me and threw about 50 chairs at me.
You know,
their leaks the CCTV recording, and he has to try and explain it to the press.
Their fight's actually underrated. I think it kind of works, them fighting for the seat of the Senate, and it's just one of the parts of that movie that I think is pretty well done. That and like the Order 66 scene.
Yeah,
but the soundtrack is so good. That's the weird thing.
It is.
Well, that's why people were excited for Kenobi, man. They had the Duel of Fate soundtrack, if you remember. You can trick anyone with that shit, you know. It's a big part of what made these movies so successful. Imagine the Star Wars prequel and OT without the music. Imagine the Throne Room duel without that amazing soundtrack with Luke and Vader. Like
now we got the Mandalorian, which is just wow like that.
Yeah, Mando. I liked Boba Fett's theme. That one was kind of catchy. But
still like his rocket knees.
I didn't like his rocket knees. I don't know. It's funny you say that. That is the moment I gave up on the Mandalorian, that episode, because he runs over and just forgets his jetpack exists like the entire episode. And he's just falling down the hill. I didn't even have a problem with the Boba Fett stuff at first. I was screaming at the screen for him to pick up his jetpack. I couldn't believe it. It was done.
One more super chat came in. Joe Eager says the Oronaut parody where Kenobi has an affair with Padme is weirdly more believable than the actual movie.
Well, wasn't there the thing like with one of the versions of the script was that they did want to imply that Anakin thought that that was what was happening? I'm sure there is like an older version of Revenge of the Sith where that was more strongly
I
present.
think that would have worked way better. And oddly enough, I think the best scene in the movie, at least acting wise, is between Padme and Obi-Wan, where like Anakin is the father, isn't he? And I'm so sorry. Like it's just they fucking nailed it. And it was like a breath of fresh air from the rest of the movie where they were actually acting again, and I felt something.
Although it would change the Mustafar scene where he's going, "Is his dick bigger than mine?"
You're with him.
I do quite like the implication of the well acted scene when he says, "Yeah, I'm so sorry." It's like somewhere in the back of his mind is fucking have to explain this to his son at some point in the future. I'll just lie. That'll be easiest.
Fucking lie. Fuck it.
Yeah, he calls him. He goes, "Luke." He goes, "What?" He goes, "Go away."
Nothing. He's wanted to tell him so many times.
Oh,
Why
boy.
didn't you tell me, Ben? Well, I was planning to lie to you your whole life.
Yeah. It would be more complicated if, like, why wouldn't you tell me if he was fucking plowing his mom? Like, we could have had a drama between Anakin and Obi-Wan rather than nothing. Separate them for like separate them from Attack of the Clones, and they barely even talk in the Phantom Menace. That was such a mistake. The lack of developing of their relationship is one of the biggest failures of the prequels.
What's that video where they talk about Ahsoka?
Oh yeah,
Anakin used to have a little teenage jailbait with a mini skirt. We get into some flips so we can look at her pussy.
They're running trains on Ahsoka. That was fucking hilarious.
And then he ends it like, and he was a good friend. Like it's normal.
That's like one of the best Star Wars kits out there. You gotta find that.
Oh shit!
But the problem is, we're getting Ahsoka season 2 because Dave Filoni won't let his fucking shit character just die.
He's his baby, man. He loves her so much. She's died like 4 times, hasn't she? And she just keeps popping back out. It's just I don't know.
He invented time travel to save her. She's Ahsoka the White, but she's still the same person beforehand.
You know how she was tripping balls doing the whole Anakin flashback thing? I was thinking the entire time, she's been underwater for like 12 hours, dude. Like, she's gonna drown. Like, this is so stupid. Like, why not have this be the moment to reveal something about her species, that they can breathe underwater or something, at least to justify that big hole in the plot? Because the entire time she's doing that, I'm just picturing her completely like 6 feet, like she should have drowned. She was underwater for that entire period of time. But they don't even do anything with these opportunities.
That would have been funny if he goes, "Anakin, I'm ready to go back." He goes, "Ahsoka, you've been brain dead for about 4 hours. This is a hallucination."
Yes, do something with it. Oh my god, man.
Well, I guess that will wrap it up for this week's episode of BSUP. Thank you to everyone who's in the chat. Really appreciate you guys. You guys are always on fire and absolutely hilarious. I'll actually have my equipment because I'm not home right now. So next week I'll have my equipment again and I can pull up more on the chat for the re-up because we still haven't figured out how to actually use anything but fucking StreamYard to make this stream a little more lively. But
we'll get there. Maybe in another 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. And thank you to everyone who sent in super chats. Really appreciate you guys. And I guess the code was displayed for all. Send in a really good question, and you'll get like 15 minutes of the stream for $2.
This is the way.
This is the way. But no, thanks to our, I guess, co-host. I don't know what to call you guys still. Reaper and Jedi Brooks. Much appreciate you guys, as always.
The help.
The help. Yeah. But yeah, we will see you guys next week, I suppose. And I'll let you take us out, Platoon.
Yeah. Does anybody have anything that they have coming up that they want to announce before we go?
Oh yeah, that part. Plug your shit. Plug your shit.
Working on the Last of Us video, what they did to Joel is an abomination. I'm going to be comparing it to Ned Stark and going through all the writing that made that so significant yet compelling to the point where you wanted more and you were still invested in the characters. Versus this shit where I don't ever want to see this show ever again. That goes to point. Complete bullshit death, but we're making a comparison on that. Give me a few more days.
Good. Reaper, are you still planning things?
Yeah, I plan.
There you go.
I've got scripts everywhere. I've got about 15 scripts, all half finished, and that is the perfect metaphor for my life.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's the worst, man. Leaving like videos half finished, one thing, but scripts, you have to strike while the iron's hot. It's so difficult.
Yeah, so who knows? Who knows?
We shall
It's a
look forward to
surprise.
whatever the surprise is,
Yes, we will.
and whenever it will arrive. Cynic, anything coming up for you?
I am doing a full part 2 of the MCU Phase 5 Sucks series that I've done. And that'll be where my Thunderbolts review is. And no, I didn't think it totally sucked. So it'll be a little contradictory, but not everything sucks.
You have to change the title to Phase 5 Mostly Sucked.
That's actually a good idea. Thank you.
You're welcome. We'd be worth like another 200,000 views off the total you would have had if you just said you hated it.
I know.
And I've just got stuff like I'm sitting on this fucking Minecraft video, which is so nearly done and yet so pointless to release that I've been putting off finishing it. But it's so nearly done, I might as well finish it. That will be out maybe some point this week. Thunderbolts mini review should be out in the next day or two, and then the main one of those will follow at some point, hopefully within the next 2 weeks. But yeah, stuff is happening. Things are coming out. I know, so did I. So that brings us to the close. So yes, as mentioned, thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you to the panel for being you, and we will see you again the same time next week. Goodbye.
Peace.
Bye.
Fuck you.